Welcome to Heist. I'm Bradley Hackworth, joined by Jonathan Ems, otherwise known as Doc.
Hello, fellow humans.
It is our special Thanksgiving episode with two movies that don't have dick to do with Thanksgiving. But,
And in two entirely different Thanksgiving moods. I am jacked up on caffeine, and Brad is barely conscious right now.
I'm barely with you.
welcome.
About like 20 minutes ago, I wasn't even with you. I was in a different world. I was slumbering. There were turkeys dancing. It was like things were nice. Things were good. Now we're here. The world is cruel.
I like I said before, Brad, I would have let you off the hook. I would have been okay with us just taking the night off.
Everything you're about to say does not matter
because
because there is a but. If there's a but at the end of the sentence, everything before it's bullshit.
I told my family to fuck off so I could do this, so now I'm responsible. If I don't do this, I'm just the asshole who left Thanksgiving. And these are not people who leave Thanksgiving early, okay? These are talkers. These are folks who if you didn't drug them, they would talk all night. So,
Hey, I grew up in the Midwest. I know how it goes, man. The 50-minute goodbyes, I know how it goes. All right.
Yeah.
The movies tonight that we're going to be covering are 10 Things I Hate About You. And right now, Doc, I got a few of them. Because. Oh. You know what? That's just going to be me. That's going to be me this episode. I am going to be a crotchety shit. There's no way around it. Because, I mean, half of these movies I loved. Half of these movies I fucking despised. Woof. This is the...
Okay, we'll see. This is what I don't understand, then.
It's going to be a very interesting one for me.
When you say half of these movies, you mean half of these movies this episode?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I see. I thought you meant like in the series. And I'm sitting here going like, why didn't you ever say so? Why are we pretending we like movies? I don't pretend I like movies I don't like. But okay.
Oh, no. This I think is going to be the first one that I'm not going to lie. There was some brilliant writing, the skills, a lot that went into it was great. The movie made me wildly uncomfortable at times, and introduced racism jokes to me that I wasn't even aware existed, and I am now not. I don't like that was added into my brain.
I say yes. Okay.
Yeah, I could have gone on not knowing these things. The songs that were referenced in there that because I am who I am, like I had to go research and listen to. Did not like any of that. That was all... Wow. Will say, I understand the brilliance of it. Damn.
I hear you. Okay. That's... Okay, we'll get into that when we get into that then.
Mm-hmm. But the first one that we're going to be covering is 10 Things I Hate About You, written by Karen McCullah and Kirsten Smith, based on Taming of the Shrew. Taming of the Shrew. I actually don't know. Which one is it?
It is The Shrew, yes. Taming of the Shrew, yes.
Thank you. By Shakespeare. Directed by Gil Junger. Starring Heath Ledger, Julia Stiles, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Larisa Oleynik, David Krumholtz, and Andrew Keegan. With Gabrielle Union, Susan May Pratt, Larry Miller, Daryl Mitchell, David Leisure, and Allison Janney.
And everyone other than Allison Janney, these are all like established names today, and these are the baby child versions of them in this movie, and it's kind of shocking.
Except for the one who played Bianca, Larisa Oleynik. She was a child star. She was the star of The Secret Adventures of Alex Mack.
Oh, right. I remember that show. Yes. Okay.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt had already done Third Rock from the Sun.
He was in the middle of doing Third Rock from the Sun at this time, wasn't he?
Yeah, but it was already a hit show.
Right. Okay.
I don't know about Andrew Keegan. Gabrielle Union, this is about the same time as Bring It On, and I think she was already an established name at that point. I don't know about Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles, even though they were pretty much the stars.
Yeah, yep.
But
It was still kind
yeah,
of shocking for me because of how, like, it was definitely, it was especially shocking with Julia Stiles of how just like small and skinny she was in this movie. But like even Heath Ledger, like compared to like what like the very next big thing he was in was Knight's Tale, and in Knight's Tale he's twice as big as he is in this movie. You know, and so it was still kind of weird to see everyone look so small. You know.
I don't know. I was thinking about that because kind of want to watch A Knight's Tale again because I remember he actually is kind of a toothpick in that movie too. Like
Really?
he's
Okay.
not.
Maybe
Yeah, like
maybe
I remember it's like he's not. He doesn't really look like a knight, which is why you don't really have any like shirtless Marvel scenes in that movie for him and stuff like that.
right.
Um,
Okay.
but that is a fantastic movie. I wonder if Heath Ledger, if there ever was a moment like a time where he was jacked. It's been a while since I've watched
For
a
some
good
reason
amount
in
of
my
his
head,
movies.
I see him as like a big, huge dude, and I guess it's been a while.
He's
Maybe he just has
he's
that
just
that
he's
presence.
a he just has that presence. Maybe Brokeback Mountain when he was playing a cowboy.
Okay, I suppose that's possible as well.
I can
Yeah.
see it, but I can't remember. It's been way too long. But the music in this movie is just wow, dates it so hard, but also because that was my era, man, I was having fun with it. A
Yep.
lot of
Yep.
throwbacks, a lot came up there. Because we open on bare naked ladies singing over the opening credits, and Julia Stiles jumps in with some just absolute banger music, and her personality
Yeah.
just shows up right away in the opening scene.
It sets the tone of the movie where like it starts off looking like, you know, basically the opening to Not Another Teen Movie. Is what, and then
Yeah,
and then is interrupted by Julia Stiles coming in with the, you know, uh I fuck, I want to say the Cramps. I'm not 100% sure who that
kind of.
was.
I wasn't familiar. I know the song, but I didn't know the band, and
Mm.
oof, uh, as you can tell, I'm running a little low on energy, and
No, that's fine.
it's been catching up with me. Showing up to school and Allison Janney writing a romance novel while Gordon-Levitt is being introduced into the class or into
The school, I guess.
orientation.
Yeah.
That's what you call that in
Something
high
like
school,
that. Yeah.
right?
He's basic. I mean, usually it's a little more ceremonial. It seems like he's just
Oh yeah,
transferred
he's a
in, and he's
transfer student.
basically just, yeah, and he's basically just reporting to the school counselor, which is, I mean, okay. I've transferred schools before and never met the school counselor in either school that I was transferring from or
What?
to. So,
Really?
yeah.
No, that's like one of the very like that's a big thing every single time that I ever transferred schools. I'd sit down with the guidance counselor at some point, or like they'd be like, "So, how are you adjusting? How are things going? Is it like you getting along in the new school?" Never did that with you.
Nope.
Constantly, I could still tell you the name of every single guidance counselor from every school I went to because of that. Like,
Wow.
and
Okay.
no, like it was not a good thing because being on first name basis, and as you're walking through the hallways of a new school, and they're like, "Hey, Brad," and I'm like, "How about we don't do that?"
Right. Yeah. That doesn't help the street cred much.
Man, I had a class of 28 people. There was no street.
Okay.
Gravel
I hear you.
road, sure.
Maybe, well, maybe that was it. Maybe it was because I went to such a bigger school. They were like, "We don't have time for this shit. You're on
That's
your own."
probably the case. Like that, I could definitely see that. The biggest school I ever went to, I think the class maybe 300 people, maybe.
Mm.
No, it was not. No, no, no. Very like small place. Heath Ledger pops in to get in a size joke about the optimism about his bratwurst.
Well, because he's apparently being told to report to the counselor for quote unquote exposing himself to the lunch lady, which really was just the school lunch bratwurst, and he basically he gets roasted. But and I was gonna say that was the interesting thing about it, because while other than the vibe check from Julia Stiles, where she comes in, changes the tone of the beginning with her music and her whole presence. Other than that, our introduction to both Heath Ledger's character and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, their introductions kind of run-of-the-mill vanilla. Allison Janney steals the show from both of them for their own character introduction by
Clearly.
just roasting the both of them,
And then stealing the bratwurst line for her own romance novel.
Right, yeah.
Then David Krumholtz shows up for the I'm Not a Geek tour for Gordon-Levitt. And just, you get the freaks, the geeks, the nerds, every single
your standard
one of them.
high school movie, setup of let's go ahead and name the cliques, and we got the tour guide naming the cliques, like on your left is the the monument to fascism over here, the cool kids, as they are usually called.
Which I think they had everything but like the neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
Like they really went all the way in on it. But Krumholtz got kicked out of the Ivy League group because he buys his socks at an outlet mall. And I still wonder if that was actually true or if that was him just kind of saying that, because the way that he says, like, I'm going to get my revenge or whatever he says, that kind of made it seem like it was true.
I mean, we were never given any reason to believe that it wasn't true. I mean, yeah, he seems to be kind of a generally honest character when he's never caught lying or conniving. So his quote unquote revenge is to basically get the guy's house destroyed by a party. But other than that, we have no reason to suspect that the person he's going after is innocent in any way. He's definitely made out to be a bit of a dick.
Oh yeah. And then our first look at Bianca and Chastity, played by Larisa Oleynik of, like I was saying earlier, The Secret World of Alex Mack, and Gabrielle Union from Everything Else.
Yeah, like she's one of those characters. She's one of those actors who's been like, she's been on at least one episode of every television show ever on TV. So,
and starred in plenty of movies. Like, no,
yeah.
If you don't know her name, you do know who she is. But God, they are greedy and dumb in this. And one of my favorite jokes that comes from there is, I know you can be overwhelmed and you can be underwhelmed, but can you ever just be whelmed? And the response of, I think you can in Europe. Wow.
I did like how the conversations between these two were like these sort of like, the interesting thing is that they were like brought off as like pseudo intellectualism, as like these are these two high school girls who think they're thinking deep thoughts, but they're actually quite, shallow. If you fast forward 10 years, you see these exact conversations taking place on Tumblr and getting deeper and deeper until you find out they actually are extremely deep philosophical questions.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Hopefully oh man, this is not going to be my greatest episode. Gordon-Levitt is all the way in love when he catches his first sight of Bianca, and then into poetry class led by Daryl Mitchell, which, if you don't know him by name, you will know him as Tommy in Galaxy Quest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yep.
I don't know many people who haven't seen that movie. And Stiles is filled with facts on why Hemingway sucks. And
all very valid facts.
Mm-hmm. Where that is true. And where I feel like there's a piece of you that kind of thinks that you may have been into Julia Stiles in high school, but I feel like you would have been obsessed with her friend.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It's me we're talking about here.
I'm not talking about being a crush slut. I'm talking about actually legitimate interest.
Oh, How dare you, sir? I loved every single one of these girls with all my heart. But but
Yeah.
yes, I probably would have been slightly more obsessed with the friend than with Stiles herself in her characters if in the real world. Yeah.
No, but she also kind of seemed like one of the only characters. She was one of the only non one-dimensional characters in this film
Which
because
was interesting about her because we don't really like she's kind of a visual stand-in. We don't get much on her until that third dimension is suddenly exposed out of nowhere, you know?
yeah,
That's what makes her character
she's not even
interesting.
on the title card,
Yeah.
like, which is weird. Uh, and our first look at Andrew Keegan, now a cult leader, in case you didn't know. And
I did not know.
oh, you didn't know.
I mean,
Whatever.
I'm still reeling over, the cult that Allison Mack turned out to be in. Like that was one that took me a little while to sit there and go like, what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sucked. Oh, here we go. Andrew Keegan addresses rumors that he runs a cult, admits he spent tens of thousands of dollars on spiritual group.
What you know
See,
what? Good on him for spending his own money. That's few cult leaders do that.
okay, here we go. You mean when I woke up one day and I was anointed a cult leader? He asked with a laugh during the I Heart podcast. Uh, yeah, he said he got immersed in the culture and the community and an interesting group of hippie types in Venice and connected with some folks and had this community. This old Hare Krishna temple, and it was just sitting there, and we were like, why don't we get some people together and let's open this place up? So no, he described basically like opening a cult and getting it started, and it's like, what do you mean this didn't happen? Like, I'm a little
And so
curious.
it sounds like it sounds like his story is that he sort of Forrest Gumped his way into being a religious leader by accident was what he seems to be claiming.
That doesn't that kind of seem like how it always happens?
I mean, I guess it depends on the cult. Some of them seem a little bit more direct plan than others. But I
I mean,
imagine, yeah, there is a for
one of the biggest and most popular cults in the world today all pretty much happened on accident because some dude was running a marketing campaign.
No, that is a very good point.
I mean, dude, these things, like a
Well,
lot of these
okay.
times, they don't
I
happen
mean,
on purpose.
I suppose, like, I guess it's the question of the initiation of the cult or becoming the leader of the cult. Which of those is the accidental part?
Okay, you may have a good point there. Uh, but I love that moment where Daryl Mitchell goes into like wild agreement with Stiles, and then like by agreeing with her, he goes in on her over her privileged life, and then sends her to the office.
Yeah, this you get pretty yeah, right off the bat you find out that this black teacher has had it up to here with these white suburbanite Seattle kids. Like, I'm sick of your shit. Been dealing. We don't know how long he's been a teacher. He's still pretty young, but you can tell he's like already lost all care for all their shit. He's like, even when I agree with you, I'm fucking sick of you. Get out.
Yep. Which Kelly was telling me she had one teacher who was like that, and she loved him. Like, if I would have had one, I probably would have loved a teacher like that too. I never had one. Uh,
Mm.
Back in Allison Janney's office, and she has writer's block, and Stiles saves the day. And then we find out, well, how did that testicle retrieval operation go? And for the love of God, the fact that she says, I maintain that he kicked himself in the balls.
That's
Wow.
probably my favorite line of the movie. Because she says it with absolute conviction. I maintain that he kicked himself in the balls. Like,
It's a good line. It's a good
we
delivery.
know, yeah. We,
Testicle retrieval. Yeah. I hope the crime matched. I hope the crime matched the punishment. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it depends on how many times he had tried this before she snapped.
I It does crack me up. I mean, okay, little bit of a sidebar here. Violence is
Mhm.
never acceptable unless it's a guy getting kicked in the nuts. That is one of like that is like from the hippie. We need to find a way to use our words, and we need to come together. We need to get understanding. Violence is never the answer. Is the single community that celebrates testicle kicks in the world. And it is one of the biggest ironies. It cracks me up nonstop. It's like, no, this is never okay. It's never okay. Yeah, he deserved it. It's fucking funny.
It is.
It's just
It's
hypocritical to
hilarious.
the fucking maximum, and it's funny as shit. It's
Yes.
just, but it's the smack yourself on the forehead kind of funny. It's like, do y'all not realize like how
Well,
violent you are?
and I think the interesting, like, I saw this guy on TikTok not too long ago telling the story of how, like, his wife literally had no idea how much it hurts. Like, they were, him and his wife were literally, like, doing husband wife wrestling type stuff, and she kind of like backhanded him, and it crumbled into the floor. And she literally was like, "Wait, what's wrong with you, baby? It was just a little tap." And like, it took him
That can
like
make
an
it, that can be
hour to
worse.
explain to her. Yeah, like he took him like an hour to explain to her, like, you literally have no idea how much this hurts, do you? And so yeah, that's kind of like, I think that's part of it, especially when you see it done comedically so often, in movies, that unless it has happened to you, it is very difficult to cognate just how painful it is.
But when you need to have surgery because of it, I don't feel like you need the maximum amount of firsthand experience. Like, if somebody told me that somebody grabbed somebody by the fallopian tubes and yanked him out, I don't need to have those to
No,
kind of
I
empathize
see
with
your point.
how painful that is. So the ignorance is the argument for why we celebrate violence argument doesn't really make sense.
But it again, like I said, it's done for comedy in movies so often. It is very easy to dissociate from that. It's like, it's right up there with every time someone like uses a breakaway bottle to break a bottle over someone's head. Like,
Mm.
until you've had an actual real non-breakaway bottle broken over your head, you have no idea how fucked up that is to do to someone.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much a guaranteed huge slice across the scalp, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty rough one. Keegan says he's gonna go after Bianca just for fun, like a true fucking creep. And I mean, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's just wildly relatable love blindness.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there. I know
Oh,
I've
sure.
been there. I mean, just
Hmm.
yeah, the woman got no interest in me, not happening, not even in the realm of possibility. But I still was like, I am a lovesick fool. I will do whatever you want. I literally was the most pathetic man on the planet for
100%. Yeah.
a bit too long. I have to admit.
Yeah. No, I think we have all been there at some point or another.
Well, I hope so. I hope I'm not the outlier on that one. When the bike goes over the edge and you just get that little bit of audio of, my balls, and then he gets up, pulls it off, and everybody starts clapping. Why wasn't he popular at any point in the movie after that? Like, nobody ever
Is
mentioned
it?
it
Yeah.
again. It's like, come on, man.
Right.
You
Yeah.
knew to ride that wave.
It was an oddly stuck in moment. Like, it was a good gag. It was an interesting bit of comedy, but like, it had nothing to do with anything else. It seems to come out of nowhere. It was a great shot, mind you, because when he first goes over that hill, you see like the football field in the distance. So for a second, it looks like he's gone off a sheer cliff with like a several 100-foot drop. So there is an oh
Yeah.
shit moment there that comes off really well. Um, but yeah, it's like it was a pratfall that came out of nowhere. It was a bit of comedy, and then yeah, never mentioned again. And so yeah, I mean, I feel like there were a few moments in this movie where they literally were just like, we need to put something here. Let's just make something up because with all of the Shakespeare stuff we've cut out to, now we've got to fill this back up to 90 minutes. We need to shove some new shit in here. So I think there were a lot of different gags that were there just for the sake of being there.
Well, I can see that. There were a lot of connections to Shakespeare in this. Like one of the main characters' last names being Verona. I thought that was
Oh,
a
well, no. It was the whole thing. Yeah. Cat Cat Stanford, she's Catherine of Stanford in
Mhm.
in there, and he's Petruchio Verona, and even like the name of the high school was the name of the town that it takes place in. Like they were not hiding at all that this was Taming of the Shrew. They were putting it right up front. So
Yeah, I just
yeah,
don't
it
know all the
was.
references because I can't remember the last time that I actually read Taming of the Shrew,
Mm,
and I've never actually seen the play.
really? Okay,
I mean,
interesting.
not performed outside of like, community theater,
Okay,
but I mean, how often do you see community theater done well?
I mean,
You're being kind.
look, I've never been blown away by community theater, but I've appreciated more than a few performances.
You're being kind is what I'm sticking with. When you go to a play, you're blown away by the play. You think it's good. The performances that stand out. That's when the lines stick with you, when they are delivered in a way that was powerful.
Mm,
I've never gone to community theater where anybody has ever delivered a line that has stuck out to even a point that I remember a single community theater performance that I've ever been to. They are fun to
I see
go
what you're
to.
saying.
I will still support them. It is a community thing. But you don't see, you ain't seeing Nev Campbell on there.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, yeah. All right.
No, like it is what it is. It's actor playground. That's what it is.
That is true.
Um, but then over to the house to see Stiles reading The Bell Jar. Clever.
Mhm.
That's a book which chronicles a young woman's mental breakdown and eventual recovery while also exploring societal expectations of women in the 1950s. Basically perfect to her character. Like that is exactly what
Absolutely.
she would have been
100%.
reading.
Yeah.
No, I
Yep.
thought that was perfect. Meeting the dad played by Larry Miller, and he flips about boys. His whole character was 100% perfect to me. There was not one
Oh,
thing,
absolutely. 100%.
everything
Like not
perfect.
only was the character perfect because they put in like, okay, they take the old world Shakespearean version of this of, I got to marry off my daughters, and since no one wants to marry Kate, I'm basically holding the marriage of Bianca hostage. Someone's got to marry her first, then we can marry off. They retranslate that to modern day very, very well, in which now the father is a maternity ward doctor who is so fucking terrified of his daughters getting pregnant
Well,
as
yeah, I mean, if
teenagers.
you're delivering crack babies all the time, you'd probably be worried about your teenage daughters too. I get it. I get
Yeah,
it
no, it was it
100%.
was it was a brilliant rework of that character, and I cannot think of anyone better to play that character than Larry Miller.
Oh, he
That
was
that
so
guy,
perfect.
he's was one of the underappreciated comic actors of the '90s, in my opinion.
I would say underappreciated, just because not enough people know his name. But I feel
Mm,
like there's not a single person from that era that when he showed up on the screen or something like that, they didn't go, "Here we go."
right,
I
right. Okay, I see
guarantee,
your
like,
point, and I agree. Yes.
yeah, no, I think he was properly appreciated, just undermarketed.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a star. That I mean, that just and people usually only remember the like leading names.
and probably he was the murder suspect in one of my favorite episodes of Law and Order. Like,
Oh, really?
because he plays that sardonic asshole so well. They literally did an episode where he's immediately the murder suspect because he's such an asshole, but then he's found innocent at the end of it. The jury lets him off, and it literally becomes like we are left on a up to the audience decide middle of the road thing where they go like either either the guy's lucky or he's innocent because like did we really suspect him just because he's an asshole? We can't say for sure, but we're still sure he did it, even though the jury found him not guilty. It was
Damn.
a really really good episode, and he was perfect in it.
Go Dick Wolf. Nice. I one of the most relatable moments in this was Gordon-Levitt cramming French so he can tutor her so he can try to look good for the girl.
Fucking A,
Relatable.
I've done that. Not French, but I think it was computer programming in my case.
Don't know what I did it. I don't even know if I actually did the cramming. I think I just faked it. Like, no, I got this, and just went into it. That sounds a lot more like me than actually having done the work at that point in my life.
Right.
No,
You see, for
the
me, it
doing
was
the
one of those
work
things like
is
when I
is a now thing.
right. Well, see, when I entered the workforce after school, like whenever people would say to me, like, "Well, do you think you can figure out how to do this?" I'd be like, "I absolutely can because I did this for a chick, in one night, so I can learn anything immediately."
Nice.
Yeah.
I just found out that if I say yes, I can figure pretty much anything out. And that's a level of confidence that I should not carry into the world, but it keeps working. Like
It's weird,
keep,
right? Yeah.
yeah, it's like every time I give myself the credit of thinking, no, I'm better than I am, I pull it off. But then I get bored with the fact that I pull it off. Like if I like that's why
Well,
this
yeah.
book like doing this book has not burnt me out one bit. Every time I get it's like writing this book is like crack. No matter how much it hurts me, I just want more. It is
No, yeah,
crazy.
I understand. I've been there. Yeah, no,
I,
it is
I
weird because
yeah.
you always hear these stories about people who like don't get the job because their resume had like one weird little typo or didn't include the one thing they were looking for. Meanwhile, I'm walking into offices and they're going like, "Do you know anything about marketing?" I'll be like, "I will by tomorrow morning." And they're like, "You're hired then."
No, that's just it. I like the motivation. I like the confidence. Let's go. And no,
Right, yeah.
I don't. I'm not. Two white guys talking about how they haven't been turned down for jobs is not exactly
No, you're right. That's not great. It's
not
not great
exactly
looks. No.
prime material. Hey, check out this thing we just discovered. The white guy gets the job. Eh, you know. Yeah, I don't that may not be the right course. One of the most painful moments of this film for me. You're asking me out? That's so cute. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
been there. Hated that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh. As much as I want to say, like in real life, I was the Gordon-Levitt character, I can't give myself that much credit for being that adorable. I was never that
Well, and
adorable
I
or that
think
adorkable.
right, yeah. Well, and I think that might be like, for today's audiences, that might be one of the uncomfortable parts about this movie is that depending on your mindset, you can definitely see Joseph Gordon, you can see Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Larisa Oleynik's their dynamic basically plays into every incel argument ever, and that's that can
What do
be
you mean?
uncomfortable to watch. The whole like she's just using him, as soon as she finds out that he's into her, she starts playing him and to get him to do things for her. and strings them along.
Did humans just discover this? Did they not know that was a thing?
Apparently now it's an argument for...
Men do that. Yes. Greedy fucking people do that. It's not it's not a new thing.
But on the internet, it's a volatile conversation about whether or not incels should be allowed to hate all women. That's what it's come down to now. And I know look, I'm not trying to justify the internet. Well, I'm just saying what it is.
Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, not to overly come to their defense, but if you're gonna side with man-hating lesbians, then you kinda have to give them the right to do the same thing. I mean, that's like, is hating a gender a bad thing? It's not when women hate men, so is it? So that's kind of a fun one.
I mean, it like I said, it will be for some people uncomfortable to watch, but it's no less uncomfortable than watching, Kate Petruchio in the original version. So,
well, okay, there you go. Hints that Stiles used to be popular, but something happened. And interviewing for Stiles' new date. These interviews. This is a teen movie. This is 100% a teen movie, and I think it's kind of a timeless one. I don't think it aged out. Because
I don't think it aged out. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the concepts, what they're dealing with, what's happening, everything like that. And Stiles is talking about the decisions that she made to lose her virginity and all that when she was 14. This is not like... This is very relevant. Like, that is like still what's going on to these days. And I don't think it aged out.
No, I don't think it aged out for sure. I mean, and I was going to, we'll get into that in the whole, like, do we recommend it kind of thing. I was kind of surprised how this is maybe like the fourth time I've seen this movie, and it's probably been 15, 16 years since the last time I saw it. I was kind of surprised how bored I was with it this time around. Like, it hasn't aged out, but I don't think it holds up, if that makes sense.
That is going to be a person by person basis, because
you're probably right.
That was way not the experience over here.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that's for the end.
Yeah. But yeah, with the interviews, the one guy, never been that baked. The other guy, well, maybe if we were the last people on planet and there were no sheep. Are there sheep? That fucking guy.
I remember.
Wow.
That was the line that got me to see this movie. Like, that line was in the trailer, and it was the reason why I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go see this movie. Was if we were the last two people left alive and there were no sheep. Like, when they showed that clip of that kid saying it in the trailer, I was like, okay, this movie's going to be fucking funny. I'm going to go see it.
It was funny. It was a funny line. The dude sold it too well. And that's what I felt. I felt bad for the actor. I'm like, ooh, that's not a line you want to deliver too well.
Well, here's the thing.
The fact that dude ain't a meme don't make sense.
That is strange that it is not a meme, yes. But here's the thing, though, is that these guys, I bet that there was a contest on it. Because I have seen multiple takes. Every single one of those guys that we see in the background when he says that, they've all said the line. I've seen different takes of each one of them saying that line. And
so then that actor was the most believable to be a sheep fucker. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to be the guy who kills that line. You don't want to be the one who's believable as selling that line.
Did we look up if he's done anything since? Have we found him on the IMDb?
No, man. I knew I was going to absolutely run in on this. I didn't want to throw a name on that. I didn't want to do that to the guy. I just wanted to talk about the line.
Imagine like the next audition he goes to, and he'd be like, "Hi, I'm gonna be reading for this role," and they'd be like, "Wait a second, aren't you the sheep fucker?"
Be just like Jason Biggs. Hey, you're that guy who fucked a pie.
Right, exactly. Hey, if Biggs could survive it,
Oh, he did more than survive. He thrived off that. And then
mhm,
meeting Ledger
because he learned
and
to own it.
true. But meeting Ledger and then he turns the French book religious. And the fact that he never replaced that book and that kept to be a gag the whole
That,
movie, I loved it.
yeah, no, that was clever. I like that. Like just the deadpan drill through it, and then yeah, for the rest of the movie, whenever we see him with that French book, he's still trying to read it with a giant hole in it. That is a directorial decision that few have the balls to make.
Very true. Krumholtz hires Keegan to fix the deal. And when he goes to sit down at that lunch and, oh, is that a peach roll up? That's really rare. And then gives the full deal while Keegan is drawing a dick on his face. And that fucking delivery when he comes out of it. I have a dick on my face, don't I? Like, just
Yep,
Krumholtz nails this movie. Like,
he really does. Yeah,
every line was,
he he wasn't
yeah.
on my list of baby faced, established actors who are baby faced in this movie, because in this movie he looks exactly the same as he always has from the beginning of time to the end of time. He looks like a 30-year-old man
Pretty
in this
much.
movie.
Pretty much, which is why he got this role. And the outtakes at the end of this movie, Kelly thought they were hilarious. They didn't land on me. The whole movie landed on me, but the outtakes, which is usually my favorite thing, nope.
Hmm.
Weird. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
remember
why.
thinking those even back then. I remember thinking that those were weird outtakes to include, because it was like the new thing, like the same way like a stinger or an outro is now. Uh, Back in the '90s, showing your outtakes at the end of the comedy during the credits was the new trend to put on, and these all felt like just sort of tacked on there. Like no, there was no vibe to them. They were basically just shots of them breaking character, no real gags, no nothing, So yeah, I thought it was odd. Except for the very, very last one, which was apparently an outtake of a scene that we did not even see in the movie.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious about. I was that was fun. Uh and then there you go. So Krumholtz hires Keegan and then Keegan hires Ledger. And Ledger, like he rolls him, and I mean it's perfect how he does. And wow, what a way to date the movie! You want me to take her on a date? The rich guy, I'll pay you $20. Wow, this movie's a little old
Yeah.
because
Well, I mean,
damn,
not just that, but even like Ledger, as he's rolling him, he's saying like, "Oh, so you're saying let's say I take her to a movie. There's $15 right there." And it's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa.
that's
fifteen
how much
dollars for two
popcorn cost.
people?"
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's about how much a large popcorn is now. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm actually pretty. I think a large
No, I
popcorn
know.
now is like $15 or something, isn't it?
I actually don't know. I haven't,
Because
because of stuff like that, I haven't bought concessions in a long time.
see, I'm one of those guys. It's still part of the experience, man. I gotta go.
And I
I
get
gotta
it.
crunch on popcorn. I gotta have a stomach ache 3/4 of the way through the movie, and I have to pee like a racehorse by the end. That is tradition, my friend.
No, and I'm right there with you. And I get it, especially when you consider the fact that the concessions for most movie theaters, that's the only place they make any money. They're given all the ticket sales to the studio. They don't make any money off tickets. They only make money off concessions. But unfortunately, as much as I sympathize with that, I am also a poor boy and I have no money. So the fact that I am here is already a lot.
There is that. Then we get the first meeting of Stiles and Ledger, and he realizes it will not be easy. The argument between the sisters about being liked and wearing mom's jewelry broke my heart.
There was a
Because
lot there
I
with their
thought it was a
relationship. Yes.
dead mom, but it was not a dead mom. She abandoned them, and we don't really find that. We don't find that out until later in the movie. And
Hmm.
hmm, when I realized that later in the movie, it reinformed this fight.
It
And
really does. Because at first it seems like it's a dead mom, and basically Styles is like I wanted to wear mom's jewelry, and you basically stole it. And now we got a new version of it, which is why would you want to wear the jewelry of the woman who fucking left us? You know, like
I took it kind of a like when Bianca says, what, it's not like she's coming back for it. Styles was still holding on to the fact that maybe she would come back. And
oh, you
Bianca,
think?
I mean, that's what made sense to me. Like, we're
Hmm.
keeping her stuff for her. Like, what if she comes back? Like, what if this, everything like that? And Bianca's like, the bitch is gone. And like Styles having taken the position of trying to have to be like a little more of a mentor and everything like that to her little sister
Yeah.
because her mom is gone. Like, I saw
Which
it.
which is interesting if that's their take, because personality wise, you think they'd be the other way around.
You would think, what? Because she ain't entitled. Styles isn't entitled to anything. She is like, she has no hope, she has no expectations or anything like that. But I bet if the mom would have come back, a piece of that might have come back too. Like, it's like since her
No, you're
mom
probably
left,
right.
since her mom left, her suspension of hope has been completely removed.
Mm, okay.
That's where I was kind of taken, like that's what I saw, but that's why, I don't know. And I'm glad the movie left this particular part a little bit open for interpretation.
Right, yeah. Well, I did like that the movie it did explore the relationship between the sisters more than Shakespeare did, you know. Like, yeah, in a household where this is going on, sure, there would be a lot of history there. There would be a lot of reason for these two to be in conflict with each other, and yeah, that makes the characters a lot more interesting to kind of get their vibe in the background from that, from how this affects each other.
I definitely thought so. Ledger being fascinated by Styles, and she is outstandingly cold as she backs into Keegan's car. Whoops. One of the best lines, and see, this is a line that I feel like can only come from father to daughter. My insurance doesn't cover PMS. Fantastic line. But again, don't repeat it.
Right? Yes. Yeah.
No, that is a joke that literally only a dad, like, that is a dad to his daughter line after she has hit somebody with a car and shrugged it off. That is,
Hmm.
what more perfect response could you have I mean, because outside of being filled with rage, being able to come in with a little bit of comedy, oh, that's a better dad than I think I would be.
Hmm.
Just saying.
I mean, I'd like to think that I would have taken my daughter's side on that one. But she's never done anything like that, so I don't know. But that's the thing is, like, I was always the bad influence on my kid. I was the one who, even when she was too old to get the kids price on things, I would tell her, if anyone asks, just lie and say you're younger. Like that was.
I
I,
feel like any parent says that. I don't feel like that's any kind of big deal. Um and if I ever do become a dad, I don't think this is going to make me a bad dad. If my kid randomly rams somebody's vehicle and then shrugs it off, no, I'm not taking their side. I'm going to ask them, "Are you a fucking sociopath?"
no, no, no. Okay, first of all, it wasn't random. The idiot parked his car in the middle of the road, blocking all of the parked cars. I know that this isn't exact. I mean, he had it coming. Like, he was asking for it.
He was a dick. He may have had a ticket coming. He may have had if a random person came by and hit his car coming. That would be karma. That would be what he would have coming. The dad having to pay the bill because his daughter decided to play fucking karma?
Oh, well, should have gone to court, fought it.
Given how far she was able to speed up before hitting the car, that kind of indicated she could have turned and gone around. It would have just been a little inconvenient. So, and let's be real here. Her hatred for him was deserved, but it was straight up over the top fucking hatred. Let's not pretend that she was, no, this is every girl and this is how we have to treat all of them and everything like that. And when they act this way, it's okay. No, this was a psychotic character. You cannot keep defending this.
I'm saying that it's, we've all had that moment where we thought to ourselves,
we want to.
Yeah. And that's all it is.
And
is that
Bill
this is the
Burr
character that actually does the things
perfectly. It's like there's those times like where you're a casual psychopath and an actual psychopath. A casual psychopath drives down the road and just thinks, if I'm driving down the road, there's 10 people over there. If my hand just goes from 10 to 2, I'm on the news and I'm famous, everything like that. Driving straight, no problem, everything like that. Turn over here. Oh my God, what a horror scene. See, the fact that it enters the mind and all of that, that's one thing. Actually doing it, wanting to ram the person's car with your vehicle, totally acceptable. But doing it, no.
There is a difference. There is a difference between, because that's the thing. Is like, this isn't like she didn't see his car and went, I'm going to fuck him up. No, like the dude was in the wrong. He parked his car in the middle of the road.
No, she did see his car parked there and decided, I'm going to fuck it up.
Yeah, because he was blocking her in. Okay. Let me say it like this. All right. We've all had that moment where we're getting tailgated on the freeway, even though we're already going over the speed limit and they still ride our ass. And you think to yourself, the only reason this asshole thinks this is okay is because no one's ever tapped their brakes at this moment. And I could do that. I could be the one to teach him that lesson that he'll know, that he'll remember for the rest of his life. But we never do it, because right. Of what, our need to keep the social contract intact, even though the guy behind us is breaking it. It's a weird, sick desire. And we all have that moment. We all have that fantasy that maybe this time we'll do it. And that's who she is. She's the one who's like, fuck it. I'm doing it. I'm teaching him that lesson that his parents didn't beat him enough, so I'm going to give him a smack right now. In this case, it was his car parked in the middle of the fucking street.
Yes, which the magical part of that, which the magical part of this, if she was not a psychopath, she could have had the fucking car towed away and he would not have been the victim and gotten paid, and the dad would not have been the one to made suffer just because she was psycho. It is you just keep shrugging it off because you want to defend Stiles. But that is a more psycho personality type of move to just go, that is not normal, mentally healthy behavior. Funny in a movie.
Maybe not totally.
Funny in a movie, but oh my God, if any fucking woman is watching this section of the movie and Doc is defending this behavior, I swear to God, do it to him!
I don't park in the middle of the road.
Oh, psychos may not care. Whatever line you crossed for that one may be a thing. What if you accidentally double park just one of your wheels and that is too much for somebody, so they decide to come by and slash your shit?
Never happens because I drive correctly.
There you go. Follow Doc because he's perfect.
That's where it comes from.
The moment that he isn't, you slash that tire.
No,
and
see,
then we can go back on the podcast.
That's where it comes from, man. Is because that's the thing. Is that it is not that hard to not be a dick on the road. That's why it makes people so mad.
No, it's not. But where you're talking about the social contract and everything like that, hauling off and doing those things, like that's the thing. The short-sightedness of that is what kind of... Too much time on this. She's the damn psycho. You don't agree. That's how it's gonna go. Keegan's anger over losing $50 because he shells out $50 and all he gets is a car accident. And then he drops another Shakespeare reference about Verona, which I think that was the first time that we got to hear his last name being Verona. Because that was when I cheated on it.
No, it was when he's introduced. Allison Janney calls him Pete Verona. When he comes into her office and she's all like, Pete Verona, you again. Like,
Oh, oh, I missed it on that
yep,
one. But then his joke about the beer flavored nipples.
that was a good joke. Yeah.
It was a good
Why?
joke. I got a pretty good laugh out of it. And then the boys come up to help out Ledger, but it kind of got me wondering because what is beer flavored? What is the flavor beer?
Hops.
Yeah, but it's kind of. I've had too many kinds of beers. I can't pick. I can't actually sit down and just think, what does beer? What does the
Wow,
can
dude. Okay.
called beer taste like? Like I've had too many different kinds of beers. I can't narrow what that would be. And when they come up with the idea to have Bogey Levinson's party be where like everything goes down, I always really liked that passing out the flyer scene. I thought that was I
Yeah, when
always
they
thought that
throw
was
it
done well.
down the stairs and you see it kind
Yeah,
of all flutter around. Yeah, it was a very cinematic moment. I did appreciate that as well. Yes.
I thought I always thought that was really cool. Then over to the party, and he's like, "Remember, boys, don't touch anything." My God, that is a face of a man you just want to punch. You just
Mm-hmm.
you just want to punch him so hard. Just the shooting golf balls onto the football field and hitting people, throwing the parties and not allowing anybody to have any conversation or say anything. Like, oh God, that is the
This
person that
is
is like,
yeah.
oh, I hate you to my very core, sir. But like I said,
It
almost
it is
everybody in this
very
movie
bizarre.
sucks.
No, yeah, no, that's true. But that is, that is true of the original as well.
That is fair. That is fair. Into the party, and okay, I know, and I appreciate that I have that as a co-host, I have somebody that can kind of back me up on this. In all the years that you have known me, in all the modeling gigs that I did, this was a while ago. Um, did we ever have a conversation of me practicing modeling poses or any of this? Because
No.
I guarantee you, anybody who goes back and watches this movie that has known me, they're like, I bet that's Brad. That is what people think I am, Doc. It has driven me insane forever. But that is what people have thought I am, and I cannot break it.
It's shit. Well, yeah, I mean, it is kind of a weird. It's another one of those like comedy, a running gag in every movie that when you have a character who is professionally pretty, they've got to like make them look
Oh,
weirdly obsessed with it. Like yeah,
yeah.
they're practicing their poses. They have a name for each pose, and they're like, can you see the subtle difference between the two? And yeah, there's that one magazine ad that's gonna go. What was it on this one? It's a sock ad. He's like, I'm doing these socks, and it's gonna be big. It's gonna be
Oh
big.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, like t-shirt sock. I
Yeah,
know, like when he gets punched in the face, he's like, "I have a nasal spray." Then there was the hemorrhoid one. He's like, "I know it sounds weird, but it's gonna be big or whatever. It's gonna open doors or something
right. Yeah,
like that." I don't know. But when he's
you're not
showing the
the only
modeling,
model that I
yeah,
have known. None of them ever talk like that.
I I I know, I know. I cannot get. I don't know. It doesn't even make sense to me that people would think that that is part of the conversation. Because it feels like everybody on planet Earth knows how intolerable that person would be. So why would anybody on planet Earth ever be that person or want to hang out with that person? That is something that I have never been able to make sense of. But when he's showing the two photos and she's like, "I like this one. It's more pensive." Damn, I was going for thoughtful. I love.
It was that was good.
I
And
love
yeah,
that
and
one.
that look on her face too at that, it's like, oh, he's stupid. Well, at least he's pretty. You like that?
And there was that moment. Um, the tiny date with Bianca, as they're just kind of like, you know, teenagers jumping over rocks and having conversation. And those were always cute dates. Those were always fun days. And you know what? I
Mm.
like that this movie knew to include stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was done very well. Um, and
Well,
researching.
that was our shot of our first tourism shot too. That was the thing. Is like this movie was clearly very well funded by the Seattle Tourism Board because we get a nice good shot of the Seattle Troll before we get paddle boating later on. It's like
Oh yeah,
come
that
to
is
all of
the
our date
Seattle
sites in
Troll.
Seattle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like okay, like I knew this took place in Seattle because of the boat, but honestly, I don't know Seattle well enough to have recognized all that. But when they're out on the paddle boat,
Hmm.
that was the one that was when I realized it was Seattle. I kind of thought it was San
Okay.
Francisco before because of all the hills.
Until the troll, I thought for sure that this was supposed to be like San Bernardino or something like that because like
Yeah, like maybe
everyone is
San Diego or
so
something.
Californian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was. Okay, so I wasn't alone there. Researching Stiles' room, she's like, haha, black panties. And then Gordon-Levitt like, can I see your room? And I love this was telling the story through the camera work. She's like, no, a, a girl's room is very private. And then you go to the master shot where you see them like,
Right.
and you see all of Stiles' room and all this, and Gordon's just kind of like, yeah. When the camera is part of the storytelling, you're doing very, very well in my eyes. Those are the
Yes.
movies I very much like.
It's yeah. It is. Some of the better comedies are the ones that don't depend entirely on just like the jokes. They also add to it, and that things like the music cue that we had at the beginning of the movie that set a tone and then changed it, and then like we said before with the flyers going down like that little cinematic shot. Like this isn't just like, we're doing a comedy, let's just point a camera at the actors and let them riff. You know, this is an actual like production. We are putting some effort and thought into every part of this, even if that means a weird scene of a guy going over a cliff in a motorcycle for no reason at all. But we're gonna do it.
Well, quite literally, the very next scene is when they go into the bar and he's like slapping the matches out of his hands, like, don't touch anything. You'll get hepatitis. And then he walks through and picks up the 8 ball as the guy is taking the game ending shot. Mm.
That's the most fantasy realm thing to happen in this movie. The fact that he did that and did not get his ass beat right in that moment. Because he is in an actual biker bar. Like the guys are all the bikers in there are all wearing the same colors. This is an owned bar, and he's waltzing in his fucking chinos and polo shirt, picking up the 8 ball in the
Man,
middle of a shot.
we ain't as bikers are not as mean as movies put us out to be.
It
We
would have been
like
in there right though. That's right. That's right there with parking in the middle of the street. He had it coming, is what I'm saying.
where you're right. Where you're right. I still think like the whole every biker is like dangerous. And I'll grant you this. You don't want to mess with a biker club. That is true. Like that, like they are tight knit, stuff like that. If you want to get violent with one of them, chances are 3 of them are going to get violent with you. However, they're the ones who are oftentimes protecting gay weddings and funerals, and they are some of the most supportive and right there with you, and honestly patient dudes. Because when you have one of these, I'm going to heaven and you're gonna burn in hell, and you should get out of my way, and you have them screaming in your face while I do this, and these guys just don't do anything. You're
And that's fair.
you
And
walk with
I
a
do
little bit more
appreciate that. Yes,
patience,
for
and
sure.
yeah, like no, I just
But
want to
there
throw a
was
little bit.
money
I
on
want to
that
throw a
game.
little bit of love out to like a lot of because a lot of
Uh,
my boys that are in like bike they're in clubs and stuff like that. The charity that they do for their cities and their states, they are some of the heavy hitters, and really got to throw love to those guys.
all right, all right.
I do,
But there was
I
money
do.
on that game. There was money on that game. We
Okay,
saw the
you're right. You're right. And the guy got it too. He was just proud with it, and they're like, so I'm thinking something might have happened off screen between the actual bikers, but I don't think they would have beat up the little kid who like came in there. That's more where I'm
all
coming
right.
with. Even if that little kid looked like a 47-year-old. That one where they say, like, we found a picture of Jared Leto, so, she likes pretty guys. And his response, like,
It was a long time too. Like
it was a
yeah,
good long time, and it was worth it.
It was very well done. Yeah, because he's just kind of like there's a it's not just a beat. No, he's sitting there staring at him for a minute, going like, and then they're like, and he's like, wait a second, are you saying I'm not pretty? And they're like, oh no, you're very pretty. You're very pretty.
And he's like, yeah,
that good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah,
that was fantastic. And then showing up to Club Skunk, where he says he can't go, in those shiny leather pants, heads to the bar, and they already know him there. So that was kind of like my question there is like, I can't be seen there. Everybody already knows him there. I was really curious
what's
if I
the
missed,
story
if I missed
there? Yeah.
something there. Like,
Yeah, no, I don't know what it
Okay.
was either. But it's the same thing. Like, yeah, I can't be seen there. And then when he shows up, the bartender welcomes him on first name basis. I'm like, you seem to be doing fine. What?
Yeah, that's where I was a little bit curious. The
I mean,
music.
they did kind of suggest that there was something going on because as he's walking in and they do that hallway shot, and every single other patron in the hallway are all women, and they all kind of seem to side eye him as he walks in. So you're going like, you first started going like, is this a lesbian bar? Is that why he can't go be seen in there? But then once he gets into the main venue, okay, now there's a bunch of guys hanging out with the chicks, and
I counted 3. I actually counted, not counting the 4 guys on stage with the band. I counted 3 dudes that were in that crowd.
Okay, so we're still on possible lesbian bar, but yeah, it's bartender greets him by name, welcomes him, hands him a drink he didn't even order. He has a usual at this place. He can't be seen there.
Yeah, that was kind of all right. And then the music cuts and everyone laughs at him calling her sexy. A scene that makes you cringe and embarrassed for the character is always effective, and that one gets me every time I've ever seen this movie. I have never not felt that embarrassment when that happens. So I really like that. Right back into Mr. Little, going to a small study group, otherwise known as an orgy. Every line he had was dynamite. Every single line he had was absolutely dynamite. But then when he makes her wear the pregnant belly before going to the party. Once again, if I ever wind up being a dad, I want it. I want it. I want to have that. I want to have that at my disposal. I want to have that be like, all right, when a little girl comes and brings a man over, I want him to wear it. Just so be like, yeah. So if this happens, this is what she's gonna be making you feel bad about you doing to her. No. Oh my God. Oh, how epically hilarious I would be with that. Even if it was just epically hilarious to myself, I would dominate life with a pregnant belly. I mean, a wearable pregnant belly.
It's not the worst strategy I've ever heard, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, it would be so much fun.
I mean, it's definitely better than making your kid go through a venereal disease textbook. I mean, that's far more traumatizing.
That is traumatizing. It's still it is very effective. I still remember a lot of those images. They're never going to leave my mind, and it was a very, very effective deterrent from unsafe sex. So, as long as it's some form of sex education, go for it. I honestly don't even care. I don't even care, but good God.
True.
It's got to be something.
Anything at all. Any sex education at all. Yeah, for sure.
No, and then whatever he's going through, he's like, I can't even remember everything that he said. I should have written it down. But he goes over like all the rules and all the things they're not allowed to do, and he's like, I'm giving them ideas. And then, dude, he is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. But the the getting ready scene and Gordon-Levitt's and Krumholtz getting ready in the mirror and everything that they're talking about just absolutely cracking me the hell up. Like, they're wearing like suits and getting ready to go to this party, and he's like, "You think I should wear that? Like, I should lose the tie?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, he just how confident these two geeks are made my life. I loved it. It was too good, especially Krumholtz. Then getting to the party, that one dude, kiss me, or that one girl, kiss me, kiss
right.
him, and he passes off like, thanks, man. And then we get that running gag of the guy just continuously trying to thank Ledger for hooking up with somebody to make out with.
Right, yeah.
It's so unnecessary, but so funny, man.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, like, considering all the things, I'm wondering if someone had, like, if there was, like, another script that was just full of, like, random teenage high school jokes that someone was like, here's my specs. Because the teenage comedy romance thing is kind of popular in the 90s, you know, here's my spec script on that. And then someone else came along and was like, what if we did Taming the Shrew? And so they just basically took a bunch of random other stuff and just found places to shove it in the Taming of the Shrew script. And because some of these things were so random, but they worked really well to just add to this movie, but they seemingly come out of nowhere.
I'm not going to say that that's impossible, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah, they fit too tightly together.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But
these all do come from random characters. That's the thing, is like this doesn't happen to Krumholtz or
I know, but the way that it feeds into how everything goes, and especially considering because so many of these actors in this went on to be writers and directors of their own projects and all of this. There was a lot of creativity bouncing around on that set. I bet there was an ass ton of improv of these people just, let's just kind of see what happens here.
Okay, I could see that, sure.
Then Keegan taunts Stiles about her sister, and then that one dude comes in, fight, and then Keegan, ew, fight. The way he said that, like, oh my god, dude, that might be the most California, like the SNL skit. We're gonna head by the pill. Well, kill. And we're gonna go for 5. No, like that SNL skit of the Californians, that sounded like it belonged in that skit. And I'm probably gonna be watching that as I go to sleep tonight, because there's no way I'm gonna not be able to think of that.
Right, yeah. Which again is just kind of one of those, like, wait, this movie does not take place in Southern California. It takes place in Seattle, apparently.
Which I don't know how different that was in the 90s. I really didn't you live up in Seattle at one point?
Nope. That wasn't me.
Thinking of somebody else. All right. Stiles gets trashed, and Ledger is wildly confused over, like, wait a minute, where did this personality come from? What is happening here? What is doing all this? And that scene when Gordon-Levitt finds Bianca, and she just throws Gabrielle Union in front of her, like, be interested in her. Like, god damn, dude, I felt so horrible for him. Like, they did, and as they're doing that walk away where Keegan is dragging Bianca away and Gordon-Levitt just has like those sad puppy eyes and he's longingly looking after her. I'm like, oh, don't be a dick, movie. I remember moments like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I was a sad puppy dog as a kid. I was, man. I was lovesick, like, oh, you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I can believe. Yeah, no, I was there too.
Well, you were a crush slut. I don't know if you were lovesick. I don't know, but
that's the thing. I was deeply in love with all of you. I was a lovesick puppy, but it was times 30 because it was with 30 different girls.
Okay, all right. I'm not gonna say it was just one woman that it ever happened to at a time, I guess. Like, no, I can remember back, like, let's see, 9th grade. No, I had a crush on these women. 10th grade, I had a crush on these women. No, okay, so no, it wasn't like I was monogamous with my unrealistic expectations as a child. It, it kind of sailed. Um, the hurt looks and a lot of thanks from that one makeout guy. And I should have looked this up, but was this before or after Save the Last Dance? Do you know?
I don't actually. Yeah, that's a
Because
good question. They
watching
were
Stiles
very close
on
to each
that,
other.
like with all the dancing and everything like that, it's like that's really funny because either the movie right before this or the movie right after this is her learning to dance like that. So nice. That was kind of a cool little nod to the era.
Yeah.
When Gordon-Levitt tries to call it off and Ledger comes in with heavy and healthy advice. Because,
Yeah.
and here's the thing. He tells me, he's like, this good looking, muscular, whatever guy, he's not half the man you are. And that is really one of the better messages of this movie. Doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter how much money you have. Like when it comes to like being just a person, a healthy, responsible, good person, doesn't matter how
Yeah.
you look. It's all about how you act and who you are and how you do. So watching him come in and just be that level of good friend, the movie needed a moment
It,
like that, and it delivered at the
the
perfect
movie
time.
it really did. It was interesting though because that what I thought and here's where I don't know if we can put this entirely on the movie or if it's a combination of the movie and Heath Ledger because with this, you know, Peter character, this version of Petruchio, this is kind of a weird out of left field version because everywhere up until this point, he's been the vandal. He's been the guy who like doesn't say much, and what he does say is usually pretty acidic, kind of he knows that because he's a mysterious kind of brooding dude, everyone's kind of afraid of him, and he's kind of okay with it, likes to play into it, likes to, shove shop drills into textbooks of people who just walked up to him. Like this is the kind of guy he is. And all of a sudden in this moment, on this night, at this party, he does a complete 180 and he is a caregiver to Julia Stiles and a really good friend to Joseph Gordon-Levitt out of nowhere. And yet somehow it wasn't weird in that moment.
It really wasn't because that he's kind of the dad figure of the younger people. Leave him alone, doesn't want to be bothered, everything like that. But anytime it comes up to him actually needing to do the right thing, he does the right thing every single time, and it kicks him in the tenders quite a bit. But we were talking last episode about like what when like as being raised, what the kind of messages over what to be a man. That's what it is.
Okay.
You are supposed to do the right thing for your people no matter what. Doesn't matter what happens to you. Doesn't your problems don't matter. You got to do the right thing for them. And I like that about his character. Like he was a role model of a character.
Yeah, okay.
I think. But then again, very, very, very subjective. Bianca
So
Bale.
attacking freshmen with drill bits. Okay, got it.
Their books. And they weren't freshmen. They were juniors or seniors. Because one of them had to be old enough to go to prom and take Bianca. So he had to at least be a junior.
Okay.
But it was also his book. Whatever. Bianca bails on Keegan, and then Union bails on Bianca. Oh, what a cold moment. And yeah, pretty sure I can remember a moment like that happening back in the day, too. Seriously, man. We all suck when we are kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just kids and teenagers, they just, like, that is, like, just us being the worst of ourselves. And this movie does a good job of reflecting that. The drives
that's what I
home.
thought was
Go ahead.
interesting about it. And we see this happen in a lot of teenage movies and a lot of romance movies in general, but especially the teen romance ones. That changeover that Bianca goes through, where she's being gaga, being selfish, and she's all over the pretty rich guy, and then in the course of this party, she comes to realize that he's actually a big douche. She doesn't really like him very much. And now she's seeing the value of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, that he's like, he's actually been nice to her. He's actually,
Yeah.
this is a realistic transition. Every teenage girl goes through this transition. However, the problem is that it doesn't take the course of 2 hours in a party for this transition to take place. It actually takes place through their 20s. This realization doesn't happen until they're at least 26 years old.
As much as I want to say, you're right, I do believe that it happens for some younger. I do believe that not all of them figure it out, because I mean, like I have said, women are human beings just like men, dude. Not all of them.
Yep, no, fair.
You cannot generalize a whole gender and say they do all things good, bad, otherwise. Just can't be done. So I say the healthy ones, because yeah, you want it to last a little bit. You want it to last a little bit of time. You want to have the healthy rebellion at the healthy time, and you don't want it to last too long. So I think it's ideal for that type of shedding and figuring out these things to happen through the course of your 20s. I think it's ideal, but man, I know too many people that it doesn't go that way. But moving forward, the drives home, Ledger won't let her kiss him because she's too drunk.
Yeah.
Good call, man. Good guy. Good guy moment. Good call moment. And funny, I mean, I have to say it like this because my wife brought this up while we were watching that. She was like, okay. Yeah, I was like, see, people do that. She's like, you wouldn't hook up with me when I was drunk and we were engaged. And I'm like, it's still.
Yeah.
Still.
Because you know why? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Because we know there is a 50-50 chance that come morning, you're going to be embarrassed at what you did and you're going to blame us for it. So we're not going to fucking roll that dice anymore. We're done. All right?
You get it. You get it. Yeah. No, I stopped messing with drunk women a long time ago. I was like, no, that was an early 20s game. But then like in my mid 20s, I wound up in like a 5-year relationship. So when I got out of that, I was like, I'm not in that place anymore. So even when I was still like the single guy, I'd go out to the bars and all that. No. If a girl, oh my God, I was out at the bar one night and we were like, the bar was shutting down. As we're leaving, not at the same time, but like this woman came up and like started hitting on me. I was like, no. And then another one came up and started doing the same thing. And I was like, just hell no, you are drunk. And this dude's like, I don't think I've ever seen a guy turn down a woman in this bar. And I was like, there's always tomorrow, man. And all I really wanted to say was, I am not that fucking desperate, man. But it's like,
yeah.
But my mind was kind of blown by the fact that he said he's never seen a guy turn down a woman in that bar.
Like, that is, yeah.
That's
not very. That's kind of That's a little disheartening. Yes, to hear that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, how can it be disheartening to turn down a woman like that? But no. I see.
Yeah, like that's yeah.
That's just me being an idiot, man. I'm still turkey tired, man. And that does like equal like, I swear to God, Xanax or something. But I loved Gordon-Levitt landed standing up for himself, and I loved Bianca's honesty because he's like, "Have you been selfish your whole life?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, this is an honest conversation. Like I'm seeing some vulnerability. This is enjoyable." And then as he's going into it, he's like, "I stuck up for you. I did this." And he really nailed it with the, "I learned French for you." And then she went in for the kiss. And I was like, oh my God. I loved it. Watching that kind of honesty and the vulnerability and seeing them like connect in that way, that made me super happy. And when she gets out of the car and he's like just in shock, and then back in the game. Man, there are
Right.
so many lines in this movie that just stuck in my head for like forever. I really too many good ones. Uh,
Hmm.
Everyone mocks Stiles as she's coming back into the classroom, and the teach busts out that Shakespeare. And I love that he kind of like raps the Shakespeare
Hmm. Yeah.
because it works
Yeah. Because
very
he
well.
does that. He does that meter. Yeah.
No, no, absolutely. But you got to admit, Stiles getting sent to the office because she's not arguing.
I don't know what game you're playing, but I ain't playing. Get out.
uh, no, I absolutely love that. I can't get enough of you, baby. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, God. No, no, no. Sorry, sorry. I was thinking too good to be true. But the I can't get enough of you, baby playing as Bianca is walking by. This literally was like the soundtrack to me being 12. I'm not kidding. So much of it. But then Krumholtz putting the moves on Susan May Pratt. I literally have in parentheses here, guaranteed Doc loves her, especially in this moment. Guaranteed it. Like I know when you watch this,
am I that predictable?
over the course of God, how many movies? What is this? I don't know. Over the course of like 100 movies that we have covered, don't you think maybe? I mean, I think I figured a thing or two out.
I mean, there was some curious things about her because this is like maybe the fourth time that we've seen her pop up in the movie as a Cat's friend, but we get nothing about her other than she's Cat's friend, and she's there to
She is a
basically
side
look
character.
slightly more. Yeah, she looks slightly more extreme than Cat does, but in the same vein,
But
with
she's
the
less extreme,
and
which
that's
is
the
something
thing.
I
That's
enjoyed.
the thing is like, yeah. So she'll have like one line here or there, which are basically just for Cat to play off of. She's there as just a foil for Cat when she needs one, and then this is the first time we get to see her character, and it's like, oh, it turns out underneath all of this, I hate everyone and everything. There's a love for Shakespeare that is so deep that all Krumholtz has to do is quote one line at her and she's fucking his.
He goes a little bit further, but it does start the conversation. I will give you that. And it does kind of
Yeah.
simplify that character a little bit. They could have done better. I will give you that, but I still loved that character, even though I got almost none of that character. So I can't say
Mm-hmm.
they didn't do a good job. This also she kissed me. Where? In the car. That look on Ledger's face. I swear to God, he stole this movie just with his reactions to lines.
No, really, yeah.
Also, young boy Bradley watching this movie for the first time did not understand that joke. In fact, I may not have understood that joke until this time. it's
I could see that.
it,
Yeah, sure.
it's been okay. In my defense, it has been a while since since I watched the movie, so I got to give myself that. Rips down another sign and just tears into the idea of prom. And even her friend is kind of done with the intentionally not having fun. She's like, oh, something different for us. Like, even she's kind of over it a little bit. She's like, I don't know. I kind of, it's a memory. It's like you see her kind of like warming up
Right.
to the idea a little bit. And I like that. Kelly swears that this is the reason there is no longer archery in high school. They're doing the archery, and she just gets
Yeah.
distracted and right into the coach's ass. Like
Right. Yeah.
that would I wouldn't want it in my class anymore. I would tell you that much if if that was something that happened. Ledger tries to turn down the money, but winds up taking it. And when you know why he winds up taking it, it turns into a really good moment. But while you're watching it, you struggle with it. At least I did. And I
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
tried to go into that.
but also at the same time, and here's the dilemma here too, and this is an actual real life like moral dilemma kind of thing, where we do have like there's you want to do the right thing. Like in his mind, he's sitting there going like, no, I actually do like Kate now, and I do want to date her, but I'm not doing it for your filthy money because that's what sullies this. That's what makes this a lie. That's what makes this bullshit.
That's what takes the integrity.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, when you see that huge wad of cash waved in front of your face, and you're thinking to yourself, man, that money would come in handy. And I was gonna try and date her anyway. So like,
Yeah,
and
he's
so
like, I
that
can take this money and I can date her with this money. Like, you do see
yeah, like
why
and
he rationalizes it, and it doesn't actually break his character in any way.
it doesn't break his character. You can see the struggle it is for with him. You can get it, and yeah, it is kind of uncomfortable scene to watch, but that's because you understand why he's uncomfortable accepting it while not at the same time you're not like that's it, fuck him. This character's an asshole.
There you go. I like that moment where they go to the guitar shop and he sees her and he almost approaches her, but then he decides to leave her alone and let her have her time. I like that. It kind of showed that he understood
Mhm.
her character a little bit better. I thought that was a good inclusion. But then the face off in the bookstore and the fact that as they're going through this whole argument, he starts it off talking about how he lost his copy of The Feminine Mystique. And the thing that ends
Right,
the argument is she shoves a new copy of The Feminine Mystique right in his chest.
right,
That
yeah.
was great. That was fantastic. I thought that was a wonderful inclusion. Um, but then when Krumholtz is telling him like, you gotta like prostrate yourself and put yourself on the line for the
Right.
the sun is setting on the scape of
Right,
love
yeah.
or whatever. I don't know what he said.
She's mad
Yeah.
because she's embarrassed. Not just that she humiliated herself at the party, but she humiliated herself to him. She was she, whether it was, angry at her dad or there was the drinking, maybe a combination of all three, she's like completely lost her tough girl persona and humiliated herself right in front of him. Yeah, and so Krumholtz is saying, like, look, you need to even the odds. You need
But
to
the
regain
best,
the power. You need to re-even up the power balance by completely embarrassing yourself in front of her.
but
Like,
the best part about that is like the way he says it in like he says it in like iambic pentameter. Like he goes back and
yes.
gives some Shakespearean dialogue
Th-
with it. And he
and I
goes
think
like, dude,
that
don't
is
say
one
shit
of the
like that to me because people can hear you. And then as soon as he says that, Gordon-Levitt says something, and then Krumholtz says, dude, don't say shit like that to him. People can hear you. Dude, Krumholtz, I don't know who stole this show more. Like, I'm sorry, Allison Janney, Heath Ledger, Krumholtz, Gordon-Levitt. How could you have been bored in this movie? I was
right,
having
yeah, yeah.
so much fun with this.
I do get what you're saying, but and maybe it is because it was like the fourth or fifth time I've seen the movie, and yeah, it wasn't all as fresh and new and exciting. Maybe that was
Okay.
it. So I imagine, yes, for a first time viewing, this probably was a lot more exciting. But yeah, no,
Okay. That might be fair.
I don't know how to explain it. I was just, maybe it was just a bad day for me because I was bored with a lot of the stuff I was watching this week. So,
And you know what? Sometimes we have those times. But when he goes to sing, You're Just Too Good to Be True, and nails it.
yeah,
By the way, was that him singing? Because oh my God, that was
no idea.
good. I don't think that was the original. I mean, I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with the original to know, but
Oh no, it definitely wasn't the original recording of the song. No, he wasn't lip syncing. That's for sure. But yeah, whether or not it was actually, I mean, his character wasn't lip syncing. Uh, but and I think the nice touch of like first he steals the intercom and he starts the singing, but then he's bribed the marching band to start up and start playing
yeah.
for him. And I remember thinking to myself watching this, like, that is the crux of all romance movies, not just teen romance movies, but all romance movies, to be able to have the money to have Hollywood money to do your courtship. That's where the real magic is, to be able to, because when you're when you are thinking like, what would be a fantastic date? I could hire a marching band. Oh, I don't have that. That's crazy. Don't do that. But in the movies, he hires the marching band, and it works.
Well, okay, so let's be real here. If you're in high school and the marching band is already practicing, it probably is not going to take too much of a bribe just to change the location of their practice. Like, it was more realistic than I think what you're giving it credit for. Because, I mean, it's just band practice. It wasn't actually hiring a marching band.
Okay, I see your point there.
That's what kind of grounds it, and I like that. That detention scene, a little bit of brilliance, a lot of awkwardness, but I love when he's going to that sweating dude. I like everybody a lot of people that I know, they will always remember this scene and they will call this scene out when they talk about the movie. You're sweating. You've got pot, don't you? The way he says it, it's too funny. So he confiscates the guy's weed, then he confiscates the next guy's Cheetos. I'm confiscating this too. Oh my god, that kills me.
Well,
that absolutely slayed me every time.
To really like drive it home too, the way he picks up those Cheetos, like he stops at the desk.
Yes.
And he does it so slowly. Like it's just it takes him almost a full minute to just slowly place his hand on those Cheetos. Doesn't even grab them, doesn't pick them up. It's just the very lightest of like that. Just barely enough force to actually hold on to it and lift it off the table and bring it up and go, and these two. Like
just gingerly. That's
how
I would
many
describe
takes that took.
One.
But that was one of those things where it's like there were decisions made here that no sane person would make, and they worked perfect.
I loved it. I don't know. I loved it. How he gets out of detention when Stiles comes in and tries to distract the coach with misdirection, that might be the singular scene that may not age very well in this movie. That might be the one.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna put one on it, it would be that one. But the way she ends that, she's like, "Now I've shown you the plan. I'm gonna go show the plan to someone else." So literally, she's like, "Did she just say she was gonna go flash somebody else now?" Like
she basically
did.
Like,
I know.
She almost implied that she was gonna go flash the entire soccer team. Is basically what she was saying.
It was funny. I can't. But a really good character moment that is kind of showcased in the dialogue is the way that he asks Stiles, "So what's your excuse for acting like we do?"
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting take. Yeah.
Just that one word, that the including himself into we're acting out, not why are you the way you are? Like, so just why are you like me? I can tell you why I'm like you. That one word, man. That was an incredibly smart way to go.
And it does go to show where his attraction to her comes from, is because in this whole action of trying to basically, date this girl for money because the rich guy wants to date her sister, like it's not just the fact that, he's finding kinship and like, oh yeah, I love Emily Bronte too, or any of that bullshit. No, it's like, oh, I get you. Like your whole thing, while it looks a little different from my whole thing, like we're kind of on the same vibe. He's immediately going like, we are two of the same people who, are both kind of angry at the world and doing our thing. And like, it's a kinship. He understands, he sees some, and it's not so much that he understands her, he actually thinks that if given an opportunity, she might understand him, and that appeals to him more than anything.
Well, that feeds
very few people
into
in his
the
life
next
do.
scene where they're
Yeah.
clearing up rumors about each other and just letting each other ask questions about whatever they want to get into. Like, what do you want to have
Yep.
cleared up? And I really appreciate that. But the one thing he doesn't clear up, she's like, I know the year in porn was a lie. And he's like, do you? And then he doesn't clear it up. Not until like 4 scenes later. So I thought, I thought that was cool to kind of just let that linger.
Yeah. Well, now, and you know what? Here's the thing. I understand where his thinking is on that because I've been there. Like I literally one time I made, and I thought it was an obvious, like years ago, early days of internet dating, and I put on my profile, I made a joke about having been in porn, which in my mind I thought obviously anybody who reads that would know that that was a joke. I was wrong when I'm out on a date with a girl who on the first date goes, honestly, did you do porn? And I was like, and it took me a moment to go like, the fuck are you talking about? Because I had even forgotten I put that joke on there. And so then I was like, oh, and there literally was a moment in my head when I went, maybe we shouldn't answer this question directly. Maybe we should be vague about this.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Doc.
Yeah. It was the first date.
It is an answer. If somebody asks you if you've done porn, Ray, you say yes. I'm sorry. You don't actually say yes. I just had to do.
See, you get it. You get it right.
No, that was nothing but a Ghostbusters joke. Come on, man. No. No, I've never been asked that question, but the answer would be no. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter what you say. Even if you recorded yourself, the answer is still no. If you have not done I'm not entertaining this conversation. We're talking about no. All right.
You're getting really upset about it all of a sudden.
Because I know how tired I am, and I know how easily I'm going to be able to get roped into conversations, and how the combination is not going to go well for me. She questions his motives. I'm getting back to the movie. She questions his motives and like storms off. And Bianca and Gordon-Levitt's angry French lessons about, I don't know, maybe you get your head out of your ass. And he's just rushing through the book like, I don't know where we're at. Oh my God, I was dying over that. That was killing me.
Yeah. Which also, by the way, still has the hole in it. So it's...
Absolutely. The joke stays intact even though the book does not.
Yes.
And Shakespeare...
And it's weird because her French is really good. I'm wondering why she needed a tutor, because I took Spanish for 6 years and I could not say any of those sentences in Spanish.
Dude. Did you pay attention in Spanish?
Look, I'm not the one on trial here, okay?
I took 1 year of Spanish and I have full conversations with people. What the hell 6 years? Did that extend into actually no, 6 years? How did you do it? Oh, in college too.
Starting in junior high, all the way through high school.
Huh. And we didn't even have foreign language options until high school. So, okay. Huh. I would have loved to have done that a little bit younger, to be honest. The talk with Larry Miller, the dad, and him on the exercise equipment, when he launches it off into the neighbor, and then at the end of the scene where it comes back in, he's like, into the hot tub. Thanks, Bill. Killed me. Everything about that is like, no, I'm down with the 411. I'm a G. I get it. Nah, my mama didn't raise no fool. Love it. Love every word. Love every piece. Perfection. Absolutely. The sister talk. I'm curious what you thought about the sister talk, actually. Because Stiles confesses that her and Joey hooked, or Keegan's character, hooked up when they were in like 9th grade, so when they were like 14. And Bianca just doesn't take it as well as anybody thought, I think.
Well, I mean, she seems to be understanding up until we get to the point where she asks Kat, "Why didn't you ever mention any of this before?" And Kat's response was, "I guess I was protecting you." And I'm sorry, but that is a shit response. Like, there's a lot of very good reasons why she didn't want to bring it up. Maybe, because all of these conversations about Joey were in front of dad, for starters. Maybe that's a really good reason. Uh, so, and yeah, like, would, she could even say, like, if I had told you, would you have believed me before now? Like when you were gaga over him and thought the sun rose and set at his command, you probably would have called me a liar.
Where
Like
I
there's a lot
do
of reasons, but
understand where you're coming from, this is a teenager's perspective. So I actually can
mhm.
buy that she thought she was being protective.
Also could be true. Yes, I could see that as well. But
That's, but
yeah,
like,
in
if
which
an
case, like,
adult was having this conversation, no, I'd be 100% on board with you. But from a
yeah,
teenager's
but
perspective, and the mom is gone, and the older sister kind of has to be strong and tough and a little bit
mhm.
unaffected by the world to be a symbol of strength for the little sister. I kind of see where she's coming from because protecting her from that makes a little more sense. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
But also at the same time, it's like I can see. I wouldn't say that Bianca's reaction is unreasonable because yeah, like especially if she's already got dad going overboard and protecting her. Now she's finding out sister's also quote unquote protecting her by keeping a secret about the guy that she's into. That as she was harboring these feelings for this guy, she basically embarrassed herself and almost screwed it up with the guy that she's with now. Like she's got a lot of reason to wish that she had never been into Joey, and
Oh, I get
now
it.
she's finding
I
out
just,
she yeah.
I give Styles' character a little bit more empathy or a little bit more sympathy because that situation isn't as easy as we're sitting here
No.
being
I
objective
mean,
about.
yeah, and I think that's kind of what makes the scene so good is because there is kind of an equal balance of like shame and righteousness going on between them, and we're seeing very much a very genuine sisterly dynamic between these two, and it gives their and again way more than we see in the original. They like it. They you can barely in the original Shakespeare you can barely tell that they're sisters. They're practically strangers who happen to share the same name in the play. In this movie, though, you can see that they are sisters. They've got history, they've got care, they've got misunderstanding. They care about each other despite their own wishes to do so. Like there is there's a lot more there than needed to be even to tell the story, but really made the story better.
Yeah. Then we go to the everybody bailing and jumping out for prom, and the dad is watching the spray on bald cover up, and just his interesting. I loved that. That one got me. And Styles is rushing off, going to prom, and he's just like, "Huh, funny." Doesn't care. Doesn't like not even a half a
Right.
thought about her. Because honestly, she's probably gonna go kill somebody if anything goes wrong. So he doesn't really have to worry about her. He knows exactly how much of a psychopath she is. He has to worry
Right.
about the financial aspect of the fines of getting her from bail for murder. Like, little bit different concern over the two daughters. Um, then Gordon-Levitt shows up just being dumbstruck at the beauty of the woman he's taking to prom. And I love it, man. He's got those eyes, man. He can get that just I'm gonna be adorable, I'm gonna fall in love with you. Like he's got it. He
No,
always
yeah.
has. And oh my god, on
Yep.
Third Rock from the Sun, oh, he crushed it every time.
He's on Third Rock from the Sun. He holds his own against John Lithgow for what 7 seasons? Like
Starting when he's
that's
like 12.
I know, right? Like this kid. I mean, there's times when I wonder if he actually was an alien because he was too fucking good for his age.
That's true. And all of those
Yeah.
instruments that he played on the show, he actually is that good. He is, nope,
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He does deserve the fame that he has Writer, director,
100%.
musician, actor, he is a performer and he does deserve it, hands down. Stiles apologizes for questioning his motives, and ooh, ouch.
Although
That
before
had
we
to
get
that
into
had to
before we
hurt.
get into that,
That had to make that hurt even more.
yep.
What's up?
Real quick though, I do want to go back and just say that was the one disappointment, is that while yes, it made sense when Bianca rushes them out, I wish there had been more of Joseph Gordon-Levitt versus Larry Miller. Like to see that conflict
Okay,
of the
yeah.
overprotective father and the actual good, genuine, pure, like literally if he had to choose who was going to date his daughter, he would pick this kid, but he's not going to because he's overprotective father, so he's going to put the screws to him. I would have liked to see like just 30 seconds more of that. That's all. But yeah, Bianca's just like, just as he's putting his hand out to say like, nice to meet you, sir, she grabs his hand, doesn't even let him shake hands with her dad, and yanks him out the door, which makes sense, perfectly realistic.
But I
Doesn't ruin
think
the
you're
movie,
missing
but I
something
just wish
very
it.
key about that.
Hmm.
If he had been a scumbag, she would have tried to impress her dad with him and everything like that and try to put it. But the fact that she didn't try that at all with her dad kind of told him that that's an okay dude.
Oh, interesting.
So the fact that there wasn't that scene is what made that scene.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. I did not see it like that. I see what you're saying though. Okay, all right.
But
Continue.
when Keegan shows up and then just gets the angry, just deadpan door in the face from Larry Miller, outstanding. That was great.
Not even to go fuck yourself. Yeah.
Nothing. Just, oh no, this is a douchebag. I can tell this is a douchebag, and just, oh yeah, no, loved it. The geeks get together, and that was amazing. She shows up in the Shakespearean dress, and they point to the stage, and William is up on the stage. No, you're right. He basically cosplayed as the person she's obsessed with, and that was all it took. You're I hate to dog the character that much, but you are right. I don't know why I love that character. I don't know why I liked that character as much as I did. There really is no reason. Somehow Ledger was able to call in a favor and got her favorite band. And then Union shows up and tells Bianca about the bet to get into Bianca's pants. And when Stiles finds out about being paid and all of this stuff, there was some real
Yep.
pain there. Like that translated onto me. I felt that. So I got to give serious credit to that. But when the dancing geeks, they dance over to kind of tell what's happened, the shitteth hath hitteth the fan. F.
Right, yeah.
That, I don't know how to properly convey how much I loved that line. I really don't. That was everything David Krumholtz did in this movie was an absolute scene stealing movement.
Oh yeah.
Everything he did. Styles bolts, and honestly, maybe not the best idea for Ledger to have gone in for that kiss. I thought that was a bad idea.
I don't even remember that bit. Like what?
She's she's trying to leave. She's yelling at him and everything like that. He's trying to explain it, but she turns and he just grabs her head, gives her a kiss, and she's like, "The fuck?"
Oh right,
And then
yeah.
goes down the stairs. It's like, yeah, I would have maybe skipped that one.
Yeah.
But you kind of see Ledger's point, like just one more kiss. I can like. It felt like a very like desperate romantic type of thing. Still the
Right.
wrong call. Not movie wise, character wise. Movie wise, it definitely you felt it. Oh god. Bianca double punching Keegan, kicking him in the nuts, and then costing him his nasal spray job, and then everybody at the prom just dancing around him. You know what I really appreciated this movie didn't have?
What?
Prom king and queen.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a rare thing, especially for a teen romance. That's almost always a thing. Yeah, they didn't even bother with that on this. Yeah, and yeah, and I did appreciate that sort of like the role reversal of Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets dropped on the ground, and Bianca's the one who turns around, clocks the guy, and even gives him two more. She's like, "That was for making my date bleed. This is for my sister, and this one's for me."
And actually, it's both Gordon-Levitt and Horowitz, or Horowitz. What the hell? David. How did I just forget his name? Krumholtz. Yeah, oh my god, I wanted to call him Horowitz. Thanksgiving brain, man, I am not on it. My heart melted when they were going sailing. That made me very, very happy. Like that was really Bianca and Gordon-Levitt. At the end of the movie, they're going sailing. Because there's that moment earlier in the movie. He's like, "You didn't want to go sailing with me." She's like, "Yeah, I did." He's like, "No, you didn't." She's like, "Well, no, not actually." It's like, "Well, then why didn't you just say that?" Like, no. And then they're actually going sailing, and like they seem like they're gonna be a super cute couple. I loved it. I had the warm and fuzzies at the end of the movie. I'm not even gonna play. The dad accepting her going to Sarah Lawrence. That made me really happy. That was a very feel good moment again. Admitting how hard it is to become a spectator in your child's life. That felt like a wildly powerful perspective. I mean, I don't even have kids, but that felt like an incredible perspective.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting one, and I kind of get it, but also at the same time, like it wasn't that,
Man, your kids are so independent. It ain't this. It can't be the same, man.
That's the thing. It's like I was especially. I mean, let's totally be honest here too. Also, like I was the non-custodial parent, so I kind of had to be a spectator in their lives starting when they were like 2 years old. So I had to get used to it pretty quick. So
yeah, okay.
I guess I had a little bit more time to get accustomed to that idea. But I do kind of get it, and I did appreciate like even at the end when she realizes that he's saying you can go to Sarah Lawrence, and he's like, I already sent him a check, and it's kind of that whole like,
oh god, can you remember? Do you remember a time where somebody could literally, like a middle class single dad could send a college a check to pay for tuition?
He was not middle class. He was a maternity ward doctor. Okay, he was up there. Okay, but yes, even back in the 90s,
the middle class was big.
Okay, that's a very good point. But yes, being able to just write a check for tuition, those were the good old days. But yeah, the interesting thing is because for him, he's sitting there admitting, saying like, "Look, I have always known that all of these arguments that we've been having about the dating, about the college, about even about you crashing the car, like I have known from day one I'm going to lose, but the only way I know how to show you that I care is by fighting it." Like, and it is kind of a beautiful moment. Like,
I definitely thought it was. But the teacher mocks Keegan for getting caught. I love that, man. And I love the teacher. Now this is just I get this is racial comedy, but I love when a black actor or a black character calls a white character Shaft. It's dumb. It's crazy. It's the I don't know why. I just love it. I love when black characters reference white characters as black characters. I don't know why that is like that just seems like one of the funniest like it always lands. It never doesn't. But then Stiles steps up to read that poem. And this is what I was talking about earlier. She was not supposed to cry at this moment. She was supposed to get up, read the poem, make direct eye contact with Ledger's character, and then go sit back down.
Right.
But she got up and she absolutely tanked herself emotionally while she was singing this, and it made that a top tier scene. It was a fantastic moment, and it will never die. If for any reason that this movie may stand the test of time, that is the scene that will never die.
No, for sure, yeah, and that is a really really well written poem about
Well, yeah, she
that
reads
kind
a
of
very loving poem
the,
about how much she hates everything about him, yet all in all, she hates nothing about the overall man.
right.
What a poem. What a sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is I liked it. It worked on me.
Yeah.
It got me. Uh, and then closing the movie on he used Keegan's money to buy her a guitar for her future band. And it's like, you can't just buy me an instrument every time. It's like, yeah, there's a drum set and then maybe one day a tambourine. Dude, this movie was so
Right.
charming.
Yeah.
This is one
And
of the
and
most charming movies.
yes, there are beautiful moments to it. Well, for me too, like watching it again this time, like I kind of like clued in on because this was, and I hadn't realized it that this one fell in there. This was one of those things that like I used when I was a teenager. I would complain about '80s movies about. This is a '90s movie that now, as an adult, I am complaining about it in the exact same way on how the crux of so many romance movies are the guy is lying to a chick to get her to date him. Then she finds out it's a lie. And just by sheer luck, the time that he was like lying to her, she enjoyed that time so much that she's willing to forgive the fact that it was all a lie, but she's not able to admit it until he buys her something really big and beautiful. Then she's
Okay.
able to forgive. Then she's able to probably that is 99% of the romance movies made in the 80s and 90s.
Ooh, the unfortunate part is I think you're right. It just sucks that you're right. All right,
Oh, welcome to my
final
world.
Oh, fair enough. Final thoughts on 10 things I hate about you.
Final thoughts about 10 things I hate about you. Um, I struggle whether or not to say this is a must see because it is iconic. But like I said, like I kind of, and again, it may have just been a bad day for me. I really kind of had a hard time sticking
Yeah.
with it in this viewing. Um, and again, we are talking about Shakespeare here. Like maybe it's not so much that this thing needs to be reviewed. Maybe it's time to do another one because that's what we do with Shakespeare. Shakespeare is constantly being remade every other year. Maybe we need a new 2025 version of Taming of the Shrew, and that's what will be
I
iconic.
guarantee it's coming. I guarantee it's already been made. The only reason we're not talking about it is because it's not as good as this one. I
I mean,
this was a very very good one. The actors in it, I feel like they really sold it. They did an absolutely fantastic job. I was with the movie the entire time. Uh, it does sing to an era. I got to give it that. But at the same time, I don't think that's a bad thing. I I
no,
I
no, that's true.
do I do put it on the teen film must see list. Like as far as teen films go, absolutely, absolutely
Oh
must
well,
see.
sure.
Like I would like
I
I don't know
mean,
when
if
my
if
niece is like
anyone,
16 or 17, I will ask her if she's seen this, and when she says no, I'll be like and like do the whole, I'm like the older
fair enough.
person like how dare you haven't seen this type stuff to, because that's like a rite of passage. Um but and I'm going to sit down. I don't know if I'll watch it with her. There's some moments.
Right. Yeah. The bratwurst thing is not something that you want to have an
Yeah,
adult
I
in the
don't want to
room while
know.
you're
I don't
seeing
know if she's
happening.
gonna. I don't like. There are jokes that I don't want to know if she's gonna get. You know what I mean? Like if she already gets that, it's just gonna make me sad a little bit. So I want to wait.
Right.
All right, so that's gonna be 10 things I hate about you. We're gonna take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back with the 1933 film Duck Soup. All right, you ready for round two?
Ready for round two. I feel like this one's going to be a rough one from the way you were talking earlier.
Uh, definitely don't have the same love for this one that I had for 10 Things I Hate About You. That is absolutely to be sure. So, part 2 of tonight's episode is Duck Soup, written by Bert Kalmar, Harry Ruby, Arthur Sheekman, and Nat Parrin. Directed by Leo McCarey, starring the Marx Brothers, Groucho, Harpo, Chico, and Zeppo. And this is the last role of Zeppo and the final film with all 4 of them together.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why you chose this one?
No. I chose this one because, like I said last week, I figured I could get away with one Marx Brothers movie throughout the entire course of this season, and I chose this one because of a specific routine that I felt was, if we're talking media literacy, and is my goal here, the fact that this bit started here and has been recreated as ad nauseum for almost 100 years now, I think
I definitely saw some birth of jokes, I think. Considering this is 1933, this is probably a safe bet for where modern cinema got some of these. For an explanation for the title, because it has nothing to do with the movie, Groucho Marx is quoted as saying, "Take 2 turkeys, 1 goose, 4 cabbages, but no duck. After 1 taste, you'll duck soup for the rest of your life." What does that have to do with this movie?
I had never heard that before. See, here's the thing. And I mentioned this, earlier, and I mentioned this last week when I was talking about this movie. What a Marx Brothers movie is about, what the title is, none of that matters. It is just a showcase for Groucho, Harpo, and Chico to do their thing. Everything else is just an excuse to get them there, you know?
Okay, all right, fair enough. I will say I never in a million years would have expected that you would bring a movie to the channel that was produced by the NRA with a special message. We do our part.
I don't think it was produced by the NRA. I think that was just like, especially in the 30s, I think that was Paramount basically pandering in the same way that the NFL started doing the national anthem after 9/11. I think it was just some sort of weird sort of political pandering. I don't think the NRA actually put any money in this movie.
I did not find anything in my research on that one. I just know the movie opened with that. So
yeah.
Yeah. Another little fun fact about this movie. It takes place in the town of Fredonia, which there is a town called Fredonia in New York.
The country of Fredonia.
Oh, sorry, the country. But there's a town called Fredonia, New York that complained about them using their the name of their town in their movie because it's like hurting the reputation of their town. Groucho Marx responded to them saying, "You should change the name of your town. It's hurting our movie."
Right. Make no mistake, the Marx Brothers were professional pricks. That was their whole thing. One of my favorite Marx Brothers real life stories, not a bit in their movies, one of the real life stories is a display of just like you think backing into someone's car is psychotic. These guys were certifiable when you hear about what they were doing like around Hollywood during their heights. So,
well, I know on this movie, they had one of the, I think it was extras, was talking about the dialogue in the movie and saying that these guys shouldn't be working in Hollywood. They should be arrested. One of the Marx Brothers, pretty known for his mild temper, was going to beat the hell out of that guy, but the other brother stopped him like, no, I hired him. No, it's a joke that I started. Like, these guys were apparently kind of brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, so apparently, so after this movie, they switched studios. They were making for Paramount, and I guess after this movie was done, they got a new contract with MGM. And I think that's where this happened. It was either that or when there was like a new manager at the studio they were at. But some studio exec had to like basically had heard rumors. These guys are hard to control. You're going to make movies with these guys. They are going to be near impossible to control. They're kind of out there. So he decided to pull a move. He decided that I'm going to pull a power move on the Marx Brothers to get them in line. I'm going to invite them into my office for a meeting, and I'm going to show up to that meeting 20 minutes late. That classic corporate move.
Power move, yeah.
Yeah. So when he shows up to this meeting, he goes into his office. The Marx Brothers have been waiting in there for 20 minutes. When he gets there, all 4 Marx Brothers have taken every single piece of paper in his entire office, piled it into a pile in the middle of the office, and lit it on fire, and were dancing around it naked.
Yeah,
that is what
okay,
you
so
get
these
for
guys
trying to
were.
control the Marx Brothers.
Okay, so these guys were either insane or just pricks.
Yes.
Or both.
A little bit of both, I bet. Yes.
That's kind of what it's seeming like. But right into this movie, the people begging for money and from a character, what was it, Teasdale, I think. And
Mrs. Teasdale, played by the venerable Margaret Dumont. Margaret Dumont is in every Marx Brothers movie. Every Marx Brothers movie has a wealthy widow that Groucho is trying to get his claws into, and every single one of those wealthy widows is played by Margaret Dumont. She made a living out of being abused by the Marx Brothers.
Is every appearance of hers is constantly ripe with fat jokes and everything like that about her?
Yep. That was her job, is to be abused by Groucho Marx for like 12 movies.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I felt bad for like some of those lines cut a little bit too wow. And she'll give it up for a change of power to Firefly, played by Groucho Marx. And Doc, you're gonna have to run point on this. I don't even know how to cover this movie because all of my notes are just the jokes that they made.
Just oh God, what is this? Oh God, is that
pretty much? I had let's see. What have you found out? I've given up on the revolution. I guess they're setting up a honeypot, and then it's time for a song, and the national anthem at 10 with ballet flower girls that are coming through. Honestly, this all of this is kind of a fun, kitschy, early Hollywood scene. All of that.
And it's and the joke is that all of this pomp and circumstance for the arrival of the new dictator, and he doesn't arrive. And when he does arrive, he comes through another way and is like, and then he finally goes to one of the honor guards holding the sword, waiting for the dictator to arrive, and goes, "Are you expecting somebody?" And the guard just looks at him.
Yeah, they're all holding their sword out, and then like he takes his cigar out and he holds his cigar like he's one of them with the sword, and they just like, "Oh hey, there you are," and just jumps right into it. And some of these jokes are just fantastic. Hey, take a card. What should I do with it? I don't care. I have 51 left. An expression that you have heard me use quite a few times over the history of our friendship. My brain took a shit on itself. I just didn't know, and that might be the proudest thing I've ever come up with, by the way. But no, that actually probably should be one of those things when we start making products to go in a mug or something like that. But I think that is the only actual catchphrase I have. But Jesus Christ, man, all of these lines,
in a rapid fire too, and then he sits there and does like 6 fast rapid fire insults to Mrs. Teasdale in a row, and then caps it off with, "By the way, do you ever stop talking?"
Oh my God, just like this is the movie of gaslighting, 100%. Like this is how you do it, my God. But then that line that he says, or when Teasdale's like, "I hope you'll follow in my husband's footsteps." Like, God, I just got here and this lady's already coming on to me. Like, oh my God, that is the most wildly obvious joke, and I don't think I've ever heard it. Like, what? Okay, I'm gonna run on my notes. You stop me when you have something to talk about. That's the only way I know how to do this.
Will you marry me, and did your husband leave you any money? Answer the second question first.
My God, this is one of those. That's the thing. The only way that I would put this as a must-see or recommend to go watch it is because I don't know how to talk about it. Like, I
It's the
just,
audacity of it. Yeah.
yeah. Like,
See, that's the thing. Is like
Mhm.
whether it holds the test of time. Yeah, probably not true. But in my opinion, this is one of those things like right alongside Monty Python and the Three Stooges. The Marx Brothers are foundational of everything that we do in comedy today, whether we like it or not. In
Well,
my,
no,
and
I
that's why
do
I'd say
agree with you. It's still rough. It's
no.
still,
Okay,
it just,
and you know what? I'm
yeah.
not gonna argue with you on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. That moment, it's been a pleasure, but I can't stay long. Ah, an even greater pleasure.
I got to try that line in real life someday. Honestly,
The 90% of these lines would be amazing if you could actually pull them off in real life. Let's be real. Don't look now, but there's one too many in this room, and I think it's you. That is a line that would be incredible to be able to pull off. Uh, Apparently he's a dancing show off, and then oh, I could dance with you till the cows come home. Never mind, I could dance with the cows until you come home. What?
it just goes to show he's not just mean to Margaret Dumont. He's mean to everybody.
True, but
Like,
then the secretary pops up and he like sprints and runs away, and he's terrified of his secretary. That got a good belly chuckle out of me. Going into another
mm,
song singing about the irony of the land of the free, rising taxes, the death penalty, and them celebrating because it's so fun and distracting that it's like they're not even paying attention to the words he's actually saying.
yep.
Like, if you think they're angry about high taxes, just wait until I'm done with them. It's like,
Yeah.
are you
The last
not
guy who
hearing what
ran.
he's saying? See, this song is why I thought you wanted to cover this.
Oh no, no. Although,
Because this
honestly, I
meeting
think I might
starts.
just go ahead and
Go ahead.
put like upload a copy of that clip onto TikTok and just let it spread because everyone will be going just like, oh my god, it's the Trump administration. And I'm like, no, dude, it's just politics. This has been going on for
Oh no
100
no no
fucking
no no
years.
no 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 no. Sorry, sorry, man. No, this is actually a little bit more specific. He starts the meeting about tariffs.
That's right.
I'm sorry, man. Like, yes, you
And
are
then the
correct.
crazy
This
thing
is
is,
some general politics, but it is crazy how close this is to everything we're looking at with the new president or with the president elect.
no, that's true. Yeah, that is
That's
pretty funny.
literally, I was
Yeah,
watching this, my
and
jaw was almost on the floor. I was like, okay, if this is why Doc wanted to do this, my God, that was fucking brilliant to connect these.
And honestly, I had forgotten all of that until I rewatched it. And yeah, no, it was just coincidence.
That is the wildest
Mhm.
coincidence that we could have jumped in on because how closely similar that is to what is happening with the exact setups for all this. And the crazy things is everything this guy is talking about is everything that is in the real world is being talked about. But in this movie from the 1930s, they are using it as satire and talking about how ridiculous it is. And yet it's still working. I
Mhm.
was absolutely flabbergasted by that. I was I don't know how else to say it. His Excellency's car, and I'm sorry, the running gag of the motorcycle with the sidecar, and that continuously
Yep.
taking off is like, God, I feel like I just left. Um, you're right. This movie is brilliant. You're just right. You are just flat out correct. But I still don't know. It's it is just one of those things. Uh, Fredonia should be under the Sylvanian flag and like
Yeah. They
screaming for a
just
revolution.
generally,
Just
yeah,
tossing a
just
name in
generally
there.
we want to, yeah, we just generally want to own this country, have it under ours. No reason. It's just to further the plot. It's just to give motivation for me being the bad guy. Like I said, the Marx Brothers movies work basically the same as porn. We have the bit we want to do. All the rest of it is just to get us to that bit, whether it makes it make and whether it makes sense or not.
Okay, a very apt metaphor. I wasn't ready for it, but that was perfect. ringing in the pocket. Hey, we follow you good, huh? Man. Oh, by the way, an additional fun fact on this one. Benito Mussolini banned this film when he saw it because he thought that it was a specific political hit job on him. And when the news reached the Marx Brothers, they celebrated like you wouldn't believe.
They're not all
apparently
bad.
The party was huge. He gets mad because he can't read. What kind of, just why? Why? Oh, and then just pulls out the huge torch for the cigar. Creeping on the lady, and then the other marshal's like, nah. And It's like, okay, so this guy's just a dog. Not like he's a dog. No. He's literally like a schnauzer.
No, yeah, he's like he's an actual animal in a human suit. Yes.
And then, did you bring me his record? And like, obviously they're talking about his personal records like that, but then he tosses a record up in the air and they use it like skeet. I mean, where you want to talk about like you want to talk about like the airplane being the invention and the advent of films like this, I'm sorry, man. You got to give it to the Marx Brothers.
And the thing is that it kept piling on too, because it was like, first, did you bring me his record? And they're like, yeah, and they hand him a phonograph. That's already the joke in and of itself. But no, they take it further because the guy gets mad, grabs it, takes it out of the hand, throws it in the air. And Harpo immediately pulls out a pistol and boom, blows it out of the air like it's skeet shooting. And in which Chico then turns around and steals a cigar out of the guy's cigar box and goes, and the boy wins a cigar. Like it was a carnival game. Like, boom, 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 boom. 4 jokes in succession in like 2 seconds.
All sponsored by the NRA.
That's who paid for the gun.
And then we shadowed him all day. When? Saturday. Are you fucking kidding me with this? Just, are you kidding? Come on. Cutting the tails off his jacket, gluing his butt, and then putting a mousetrap on his hand. That is the Three Stooges. That is
Harpo Marx.
That is where this came. That the vendor scene, like that was a Three Stooges skit. Hands down. That is like, I swear to God, they watched that and went, let's do that, and then make a whole career of it, and they did it. And it worked. Bouncy ball, old business, tariff, too late. That's okay. Do we have any old business? Tariffs, that's new business. Okay, do we have any new business? Tariffs, too late. That's old business now. Oh my God. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but how do I cover this movie in any other way than what I'm doing here?
No, I'm right there with you. I get it. Yeah, it's a tough one. And that's why, like, I like kind of where I stand is that, like Monty Python and like the Three Stooges, everyone should just see like the Marx Brothers, like at least 4 Marx Brothers movies out of the 12 that are out there, because there are like 5 or 6 that are actually kind of.
But aren't they all basically the same?
Roughly, yeah. I mean, some of the later ones, they actually did some change up, tried to bring like some more like through line stories and drama and stuff into them, and they really didn't work. Yeah, and so especially like with Zeppo gone and like it kind of seemed like they were starting to lose their way. They were running out of gags. It basically seemed like so.
Well, I mean, they basically went through all of the ones that we've still got in modern history, so kind of understandable.
Yeah.
Attacks. Carpet? No, carpet tax. Are you kidding me? Angering the peanut vendor and then cutting the peanut in his hand. This is where that Three Stooges skit I'm talking about. When he pulls his pocket inside out, cuts it, and then uses the pocket as a peanut pouch. That I couldn't get over the brilliance of that one. That one floored me in a way I wasn't ready for this at all.
See that to me is I mean, it's Harpo Marx that way more than any other Three Stooges. I get how you can see that connection to the Three Stooges. It is kind of that style of humor, but when I see stuff like that, I think Harpo Marx every time. It's way more his than theirs, in my opinion.
But also, it's what you were familiar with as it was going. I've never seen any Marx Brothers film before.
Okay.
This was my introduction into the Marx Brothers. I mean, I was not ready because like Three Stooges movies, I was barely ready for those when I saw those, but this was a Three Stooges with some additional racism, classism, and sexism, and just I mean, this was just the Three Stooges with the gloves taken off. Like I know,
Which is funny to think of the Three Stooges taking gloves off.
but is that not the like basically the perfect way to describe this?
No, actually, yeah, I'm right there with you.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, the hat mix up and then hat madness. I swear to God, they annoyed the peanut vendor into a stroke.
For no reason. That's the thing. Again, we're just doing bits here, no reason for him. This guy is not. He's not a part of the movie. Like they're selling peanuts as a cover for spying on this guy, and for no reason whatsoever, they start getting harassed, or they even just start harassing the guy selling lemonade right next to them, and it just becomes this whole feud that takes up a solid like quarter of the movie for no fucking reason.
To be fair, though, it is a very short movie.
No, that's true. Yes.
Uh, pulls the peanut vending spy in to offer him a job because he likes his peanuts.
Well, also because he'll scare the cabinet. Remember, he's like, "Come up here. I want to scare the cabinet with you."
And there was that. And as soon as the spy gets in there, he keeps answering the phone for him. But I will say that when he answered the phone and he just responded with all of the horns, that was incredibly well done. I was absolutely amazed by that. And now he's the new Secretary of War. Going over his tattoos. He's got the old Star.
How is that? Yeah, how is that to like that? Like imagine like a version of Memento like that, where literally like you don't talk, but the answers to all your questions are on various tattoos, starting with "Who are you?" You pull up and there's a tattoo of you, of your face. It's like I'm this guy. That's me.
That is fair, but
like,
I love that.
And like, where do you live? Here's a picture of my house.
But oh god, and then he's got the dog in his chest that is actually barking through it, which for the time, okay, here's the thing. I wasn't expecting an effect like that, so it actually worked on me.
Right.
Because I was watching a movie from 1933. I wasn't expecting an effect like that, and it completely shocked me. And I was so, good job for that. Then he leaves and so Groucho's been, or Harpo has been cutting all of the stuff this entire time and walks out. A new guy walks in and his hat is completely cut in half. And he realizes and just chucks it at him. Fantastic. Having everybody be annoyed at these guys was the right call.
Right. Yes.
Like that did make it work very, very well. Slap after slap. Who told you that? You did. Oh, he's like, tells him a story. He's like, oh, come on, I want to hear the joke. Tell me, whap, where did you hear that? Well, I heard it from you, sir. He's like, I should have slapped Mrs. Teasdale when she told me. Jesus Christ. Back on the motorcycle with the sidecar. 5th trip today, and I haven't been anywhere yet.
And again, absolutely no explanation as to why Harpo is the driver. It doesn't matter. It's a Marx Brothers movie.
Apparently not. 5th trip today. Sorry. Shows up to the garden party and competing for the rich lady. And just... baboons! Just why? Why? Just why? And pushing the man out of the country to start a war. Back in the motorcycle and sidecar, and now the sidecar takes off, which, yes, that was the right way to go. I was expecting it, but now that is comedy formula.
Yes, and it was a perfect execution of the rule of 3 and subversion of expectation all in one. And and we've been following that exact same formula ever since.
Yes, and then again, back to this poor lemonade vendor and slapping all the goods, or all his goods, and starting fires, like toppling the cart, and then sitting in the lemonade tank and just splashing his
Yep.
feet around. My God, I'd have killed this guy. Oh, pushing money lady to aid in peace talk. She's like, I need to tell you something. Like, well, tell me over the phone. I can't talk about it over the phone. Oh, that kind of story. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'll be right over. Fuck.
Exactly.
There is no break in this movie. I mean, this is an hour and 5-minute movie, and there is so much movie in this movie.
Right? Yeah.
Ugh. It does make me want to watch more Marx Brothers films, but I'm gonna need some time. I need to refresh myself and not live in that era. Protecting the war plans, proposal for marriage, and then more fat jokes. Just everybody like,
yeah, like I could see. He's like, I can see us now. I can see you bending over a hot oven, but I can't see the oven.
But I can't see the oven.
Now, here's the thing, though. In today's day and age, that's a compliment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that joke got better with age. I don't know.
It did. Yeah. And it's all in the delivery. You got to make sure when you say, "But I can't see the oven," you got to put a sly on it, like, "But I ain't looking at that oven." Like,
okay, yeah. So you got to go full Johnny Bravo.
Exactly. Yes.
This might actually be my favorite joke in the entire film. But we can't go to war. It's too expensive. It's too late. I already paid rent on the battlefield. That might be the most subtly brilliant joke about the military-industrial complex I have ever heard.
Right.
It is
right.
Wow. The simplicity in that one, and the more you think about it, the more it's just, damn. That has got to be one of the greatest jokes I have ever come across, and it is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Marx Brothers, and there you go.
That's the Marx Brothers, yeah. Like somehow equally the dumbest thing you've ever seen, while also being the most brilliant thing you've ever seen.
Okay, and now we get to, it's actually kind of ironic. My favorite joke and my least favorite joke are one after another. Because the Headstrongs, the Armstrongs, and that's how we got
Yeah. Yep. No, that was tough. That was one of those like, oh, I forgot about that. See, here's the thing though. One of the reasons why, when I'm narrowing down which of the Marx Brothers movies to bring on here, and before finally settling on this one of the other ones I immediately eliminated was because in that one the Marx Brothers do blackface. I forgot about this joke. I might have gone a different direction, but that's the thing. It's the 30s.
Well, speaking of blackface, tune in next week. We're not doing it. Oh my God, no.
No. But I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is like it is the 30s, and like I said, they are professional assholes. So that might have been a tougher thing to avoid than I had realized.
And that is fair. But this also an incredible joke. I don't ever want you to darken my doorstep again. I don't ever want you to darken my towel again. It's like, my God. What are we doing here? The infiltrating Fireflies hotel, Ding Dong Ditch goes sideways, which that was, again, I swear to God, the Three Stooges directly used that skit. I'm fairly certain. Playing Ding Dong Ditch, luring the guy out, and then luring one of them in, trapping one out, and then getting the other one out. The original person goes back in. They wind up locked out and in the exact same scenario that they started in. I swear to God, I have seen the Three Stooges do that.
Okay.
I swear.
I don't remember. I have not seen as much of the Three Stooges as I have the Marx Brothers.
And the Three Stooges were definitely not my era. They were before my era, but they were closer than the Marx Brothers, so that's why I'm more familiar with them.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm not sure why. Probably Yeah, no, I couldn't begin to guess why. The Three
Have you
Stooges
seen
had a much more of a
the
staying
Three
power.
Stooges movie with Jim Carrey?
No, I don't think I have actually.
Neither have
The
I. I
biopic.
think I kind of want to cover. I want to watch that, and I kind of want to cover that at some point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
okay,
then they're led in the back way by one of their fellow spies.
here was another incredibly brilliant joke in my eyes. Um, if you're found, all will be lost. How could I be lost if I'm found? What? My, oh my God. Don't make a sound. Clock, duck, piano dancing. Obviously, had to go that way. Had to. Can't sleep. Come get the plans, and then locked in that closet. Um, having all the Marx Brothers paint their faces to make themselves look like Groucho was a really fun
Which is
scene.
and it's one of those crazy things where it isn't until they do that when they put on the nightcaps to cover their hair and then they put the shoe polish on their faces to get the mustache. Like until you do that, that's like when you suddenly realize, oh my God, these guys really are all brothers. Because once you do that, they all look exactly alike.
They basically look identical. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a trip. Well, everybody but Zeppo.
right. Everybody but Zeppo, but
No,
he didn't get to play. That's the reason why Zeppo stopped doing the movies because they never let him get to play. They kept making him play the straight man, and so he was like,
well,
"I'm
I'm
just
sorry.
tired of
Have
doing
you
this. I'm
seen
out."
Henry Cavill with his brothers? This is like the same thing, except in with.
No.
Okay, no. It's just it's kind of a funny meme. It's I never watched SpongeBob. I was not a kid. I didn't have kids. But there's I guess there's a meme where it has like Squidward and it's got like a bunch of like there's a really handsome Squidward in the middle and then a bunch of goofy ones kind of surrounding him. That's what Henry Cavill looks like at a wedding photo with him and all of his brothers. They all look like regular dudes. Like maybe a little handsome, everything like that, but they're not Henry Cavill. This is like the exact opposite. You got a handsome dude who was buff, kind of buff, especially for the era, and you
Hmm.
got three comedic geniuses, and they just it's the exact opposite. And it was kind of wild. But I did feel for Zeppo if that is why he quit, that he never got to
Yeah.
be the fun one. Like
Hmm.
I get that. I
He always
definitely
got to be
get
the
that.
romantic lead, like in like Monkey Business and Night at the Opera. He ends up with the girl, like he gets the girl. He's the romantic lead in those ones, but
I can
he's
tell,
never funny, and that's what he really wants to do.
and that I can absolutely I can sympathize with that. Man, can I sympathize with that. Um,
Mhm.
the oh my god, this line. Who are you gonna believe? Me or your own eyes? That is good God. Just
Mhm.
thinks the record player is a safe. That's a scene. I feel like we have seen scenes like that happen multiple times over. But it
Mhm.
was remarkable to see kind of where it began. Like I gotta give you
Yep,
that. The mirror scene, pretty good.
that's
Not
the
the
one.
best. Not the best I've ever seen, but it was pretty good. It was also funny to see 1933 twerking. Not gonna lie, that was good.
But that's the thing is like every time you see that mirror routine, especially if the mirror routine includes a bit where they actually cross paths and switch places in the supposed mirror,
Okay, okay,
that's every version of it that has that is an homage to the Marx Brothers. This was the one where it started.
okay. I'll give you that. But even so, even if it is where it began, other people have done it better.
Well,
I,
when something's been redone a billion times, sure, yeah.
I'm just, but the what, but what I'm saying is the mimicry that it takes with that.
Hmm.
I I want to like I will give them the creativity credit for coming up with that if that is how that actually went. But there are performers who have done it better, and I I, I just
Okay.
wanted to say that. Ciccolini is under arrest and then another national anthem. Oh, God, see now this might be my favorite. Okay, it's hard to pick a favorite line in this one because there's 84,000 lines. Like that's what makes it a little bit tougher. But they were like, Where are the original arrest papers? Like, oh, we didn't think they were important. My sandwich was wrapped in those papers. Like, how do you see a line like that coming? Like,
Right, yeah.
absolutely floored. He may talk like an idiot. He may look like an idiot. But don't let that fool you. He really is an idiot.
Yep.
Loved it. Loved. God. War has arrived, but on behalf of all women, Money Lady steps up. She literally comes in and says that, on behalf of all women in Fredonia. Like,
yeah.
It must not be a big country if y'all met that fast. This I thought was really, really apt. He talks himself out of offering his hand for a peace agreement out of fear of humiliation.
Yes. Right, yeah. I will offer him that hand of friendship. But what if he doesn't accept it? How dare he humiliate me?
And we're really going to pretend that anxiety is a new thing?
You're right. And then as soon as he walks in, how dare you refuse my hand? What?
Oh, absolutely.
Classic. And again, another one that's been done to death a million times since then. Never not funny.
Oh, agreed. It's another song for going to war. Playing xylophone on the helmets, and all God's chillins got guns. You really fighting me on the fact that NRA didn't sponsored this? Okay,
maybe they had some influence, but I still think for the most part it was in the same kind of like sort of pseudo over patriotism, like post 9/11 type thing,
Well, this was during Prohibition, right? 1933.
I think so, yeah. Or
I'm not 100% sure.
Double check on when that was.
But the government was kind of they were overreaching at that point in history, so I don't know. I mean, when doesn't the government overreach?
Right. I mean, and we do even know still today, if you want to make a war movie and you want to get, tanks for cheap in your movie, you got to do what the U.S. government tells you to do in order to get free tanks. So,
just go smoke some stogies with Schwarzenegger. That is an option. Because he has tanks and he just drives them around his California property and he loans them out to the films that he or the filmmakers that he likes. So, you know what? There are other ways to go.
Yeah, I'm not one to judge someone else's hobbies, but that is a little weird.
Sir, the ability to play G.I. Joe in your own backyard is not weird. Getting in a tank, cruising around, that's not weird. That's awesome.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I'm not one to judge someone else's hobbies.
Oh. No, I mean, not even necessarily shooting anything, just getting in a tank and driving around. I mean, last time I was on a tank was for the TV show Combat Report, and we were cruising around in this World War II tank, and it was awesome. Just sitting on the tank, cruising around, these giant tracks going right next to your head. No, that's just cool. Look, man, some things are just cool. Cruising in a tank.
Okay, all right.
It's just cool. Basically a Paul Revere moment. Warn them all with a hey nani nani and a cha-cha. And then dude stops to do some mega pervin, gets really uncomfortable.
So yeah, it's weird.
Go ahead.
Like, well, let's not pretend that it's not weird, but this is some pervy. Yeah. Like, yeah, he's doing the Paul Revere bit, and it's Harpo, so he's not actually saying anything. He's just riding his horse really fast through town, and everyone's watched him go by. Like, what's up with the guy on the horse? He's
doing a very bad job.
Right, yeah. He stops the horse dead in its tracks because he sees a woman through her window. He's looking through a woman's window and sees her get in the bath. So he decides to stop the horse, put the feed bag on it, and just barge right into her house.
Straight busting through, scares the crap out of her. She gets, like, she actually is playing the moment very, very scared. And then we cut to her husband coming home. She's like, oh no, my husband, you must hide. It's like,
Right.
what just
Which,
happened
by the
in the
way-
quarter second that I wasn't watching?
Right, yeah. Like, so, yeah, like he must have turned on a lot of charm all of a sudden to not be talking, and now all of a sudden you're protecting him from your husband, which, by the way, here's the really fun payoff. The husband is the lemonade vendor.
That poor son of a bitch.
I think that's the best part about it, is that he shows up and he's like, I've had a hard day, I'm gonna take a bath. And she's like, no. He grabs a rifle off the wall and shoves it in his hand and goes, we're going to war, you have to leave now.
Oh no, that's what she says. You have to go to war. And he goes, I'm going to take a bath.
Yeah, right.
There you go, man. But then he gets in the tub and Harpo is waiting in the tub with him. And then he comes out of the water and runs away, which, okay, yeah, that solid laugh all the way. But then things got weird. And now I understand where the horse joke in Airplane came from.
Right.
Because in Airplane, that came out of absolutely nowhere. Now I get it. This movie actually had a setup to why the horse was there. Like, this actually, it had, oh my God. Go ahead.
Horse fucking jokes are timeless.
Apparently. We've been doing them for 100 years.
But yeah, so yeah, in this one, after the whole debacle with the lemonade guy's wife, he gets back on the horse, keeps running. This time, the lady invites him in as he's riding by. She's at the window going, yoo-hoo, come on in. And then cut to later that night, the next morning, we don't know, but we see ladies' shoes next to the bed, guys' shoes next to the bed, and horseshoes right next to it. And then there they are. They're all three of them in the bed.
Yeah.
With the live horse and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Same as an Airplane.
And the horse just laid back down like, oh, I'm good. I'm going back to bed. You got war. Right. No. But, oh, man. Okay. Then Groucho gets a messages coming from the front. I'm sick of messages from the front. Don't we ever get any messages from the side? And then he reads the message from the side. Are you, like... You know how much I love it when a filmmaker trusts their audience. Why can't our grandparents understand jokes if this is the shit they grew up on? I am very, very confused by.
It's kind of confusing, right? Yeah.
Wildly. These jokes are deeper, more cutting, and they take more thought than almost anything that I ever hear, that I've heard in like the last 20 years, especially 3 jokes in a row. And this movie has 100,000 of them, and they're all incredible. Mm-hmm. Yet the older generations talk about how they don't appreciate jokes, they don't get jokes, they don't understand it. Back in your time, it was the same shit. Your time taught my time. Like, yeah. Very, very, I don't know. He takes the Tommy gun out of what he calls a Stratocaster. He grabs that, starts shooting. He's like, or Stradivarius, and he's yeah, look at them all. Look at all of them run. Yeah, they know they're at war now. They're like, sir, that's our men. You're shooting our men. Fuck,
and then he goes, here's, and then he hands him and he goes like, here's $10 to keep this under your hat.
He's like, actually, I'll keep that under my hat. And then like, oh my God. Secretary of War switches sides and he wants a tank. They get trapped in the building. Send help or send women.
Yeah, there's 4 men. There's 4 men and 1 woman trapped in the house. Please send help, or at least send 3 more women.
Oh man, smoking in the ammo shed and then basically getting blown up. Shot in the butt. Get me some water. All right. They got Trentino. The war's over. Really bad singing, and they all start throwing food at Mrs. Teasdale for singing "Hail, the War is Over," and that
The
My
end.
friends is duck soup.
That's it. No need for any resolution because that's all the jokes. They did all their jokes. You don't need to see any more. Roll credits. We're not here for a movie or a story. We were here to watch jokes, and now we're done. That's
Yeah. That is exactly correct. So, let's do this. I mean just yeah, man.
it's and like I said, it's basically one of those things where I what I call this one a must see. I don't know. My main thing is that everyone should at least see some Marx Brothers, preferably the one with four. There's a lot of Marx Brothers movies out there, but in my opinion, the ones that have all four are the best ones. Even though Zeppo is kind of superfluous in all of them, they are just overall better quality, in my opinion, with the four of them there. And because they are, for all the roughness, for all the racism and the sexism that's in there, these are foundational. So much of today's comedy is built on their stuff, on what they did back then. And yeah, they if you are a studier of comedy and you are looking back at, you know, Monty Python and the Three Stooges and Jack Benny and all of those guys, you got to include the Marx Brothers in there because they are just as much where it began as any other these other guys.
Okay. So let's go with the standard get up. Which one actually did a better job of making us care about the characters? I
Well, that's
wonder.
obviously. you,
I'm pretty sure that's
you,
10
you,
things
you
I hate
weren't
about
supposed to give you weren't supposed to give a shit about anyone or anything in Duck Soup. I mean, come on, that's
Not
obvious.
even a little bit.
So yes, of course 10 things I hate about you wins out on that one by a landslide. The Duck Soup practically forfeited the game on that one.
All right, okay, I'll give you that. Which one did a better job in the technical aspects of filmmaking and what they were trying to achieve? I do want to give. I am instinctually wanting to give that to Duck Soup. However, 10 Things I Hate About You nailed the Shakespearean tone.
They did, and like we were talking before about how they weren't afraid to bring like some of the other, like they didn't just lean on the fact that they were a comedy in Shakespeare. They brought more stuff in. They did actual cinematography. They did actual, you know, you know, dramatic film creation to go along with the serious side of all this.
It was a beautiful
It is
teen
a, it is,
film. It is a
mhm.
fantastic coming of age story. It is incredible adaptation of Shakespeare.
Right.
In
I
the
think it's a
in the
difficult call
modernization
because
of
we're
it.
talking about, it's a difficult call because if we're talking like compared by 1933 standards,
Well, we can't.
Duck Soup
Well,
did
yeah. Duck Soup
pretty
did amazing
well.
by
And
that. Yeah.
then, and then by 1999 standards, 10 Things I Hate About You did pretty well, and so it's kind of a tough one to compare because for what, the standards were of those times, they both kind of went a little bit above and beyond what would have been acceptable, just okay to, get away with.
So you kind of want to call that a draw, I'm guessing. That's what it, that's what
I
that's what
mean,
it
I'm
that's what
certainly
it
having
kind
a
of.
hard time saying it, making a decision myself. Yeah.
I'm having a tough time with that one. So I think we're just gonna have to kind of go with that one being a draw. But
Okay.
for recommendation, I'm gonna fight for 10 Things because I feel like it's universal.
Okay. I could see that.
There is not a person I wouldn't recommend go watch it.
Yeah, and it's a really difficult thing to do with the Marx Brothers because, like I keep saying this whole time, there is no like one movie that is seminal with them. It is a body of work to sit there and say like I cannot definitively recommend one Marx Brothers movies. I recommend the Marx Brothers movies on a whole,
As kind of a
and
lesson in like cinema history and American history. I
yeah,
mean, like it ties
exactly,
in.
yes. So yeah, they're since they're since the recommendation isn't, it can't be encapsulated in that way. That I guess would be a failure. The fact that it's very difficult to appreciate a Marx Brothers movie by itself. It has to be the full body of work altogether. Any to just say one of them is the one, that doesn't really work. And so that's kind of I guess where they lose out. 10 Things
And
I Hate About
I
You
think
is
that's
encapsular on its own.
I think that does kind of, and that does make sense, especially for like prepping for the season finale. Marx Brothers ain't standing a chance in movie fights for the long run. I mean, it wouldn't even make sense.
No,
It'd be
that's true.
wildly challenging. That's
Yeah.
so
No, that's true.
I kind of get that. I really hope I don't have to fight against 10 Things I Hate About You. That's gonna feel dirty to me when the time comes. It flat out is. All right, guys. So this week the what's taking it home is 10 Things I Hate About You. But oh wait a minute. Sorry. Hold on a second. Let's do our what's coming up next week.
Oh right. Yeah. That's right.
All right.
Supposed to do
Sorry
this
about
thing.
that, guys. I almost really shit the bed on that one. All right, next week, what you got from me, and it's kind of
What I got
ironic
for
that we were
you-
discussing a little bit about blackface, is
Oh right. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we got
Well, what I'm
Tropic Thunder from me.
Tropic Thunder. Yes. We're
Yes,
talking
sir.
blackface, and wow. And I knew that this was coming, and I was kind of a little reticent about it because you know me, I'm like, for me on this channel, I like to bring the stuff that nobody's talking about, and I feel like the subject of Tropic Thunder comes up at least once a year, and so I don't
I can agree
feel
with
like
that.
that's a thing that's unappreciated, but
Where I agree
I don't
with
mind
that.
watching it again.
I know, that's the thing. I can't wait to watch it again.
Well, what I've got for you is still on my own rules, something that's a little more unheard of and underappreciated, in my opinion. And I
Fair
think
enough.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be as meaty and take up as much time to talk about as The World According to Garp was, but it's pretty meaty. It's called Mother Night, and
Tell us a little bit about it.
it stars Nick Nolte, and it is based on a book by oh god damn it, I forgot his name again. The same guy who did Slaughterhouse-5. If you know who
Kurt
I'm talking
Vonnegut.
about, you know who I'm talking about. Kurt Vonnegut. Thank you. Yes, it's based on a Kurt Vonnegut book. Stars Nick Nolte. It's also got John Goodman on it because we can't go more than 2 weeks without John Goodman on the show.
We really can't. He's everywhere. He's too good.
But it is about Nick Nolte plays a guy who was an American spy that was in deep cover with the Nazi Party during World War II and was passing codes to the Americans and basically allowed the Americans to win the war. He was a deep cover spy embedded in the Nazis, and this also takes place, in kind of more not quite current day, but like more like the 70s and 80s, where he is under threat of being tried for war crimes as a Nazi war criminal because the CIA refuses to ever admit that he was a spy. And so he's only seen as a Nazi war criminal to the public, even though he literally is an American hero. And it's a fascinating movie. I think it's going to be. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about on that one.
Next week is going to be the Nick Nolte episode then, because he also plays, I think it's like Sergeant Four Leaf Clover or something like that.
Right. I forgot he was also in Tropic Thunder. Right. Oh, yeah.
He is. Yep. So this is Nick Nolte in World War II and Nick Nolte in Vietnam. So this.
Oh my god.
All right. So
how do we keep doing this?
I don't know. So next week, we'll see for the Nick Nolte hour. From now until then, stay safe and stay sane. We'll see you then.
Good night, humans.
Oh man, give it.